YouTube. Why is it? Oh, there it goes. It was sideways first. Ugh. Sorry. I was just waiting to catch the end of the speaker vote.
Yeah.
Oh, that was. Actually, I'm not that surprised. That's kind of how I saw it going. So,
I'm not either. I thought it was going to be 2 votes.
me too. I thought, exactly. I thought they might hold it to 2, but yeah, I didn't see it going past that anyway. So, in a way, at least we got it done.
I'm with you. I would rather have it done because there's too much to do. But I think what it tells you, obviously, is it's razor thin margin for the Republicans, and they've got a lot of people in their party that aren't necessarily aligned with everything. So they came around. As somebody, I having served in my state legislature for 2 terms, I've been a part of these things twice. So I'm like, this is cool shit. This is democracy in action. And there's a lot of negotiating. Like you might be negotiating for chairmanships of certain committees or particular agendas, things like that. So that's what happens. That's what they were doing. They try to convince those 2 outstanding votes to vote.
That's my only question. Like the only thing we don't know as of now is like, what did Ralph Norman want essentially? Because and we can get into it. I have so many clips, but I know like, oh God, I don't want to talk about. I'll save it. What do you think? This is your opinion. We could go through. I went through Aaron Rupar's thread and I have it of this first round of the speaker vote. Chat, do you guys want to see that? Like what happened in the first round? Or I have, a whole other outline prepared of just what's been going on in the news and other things. You want to see the first round of the speaker vote? Yeah, let's do that. Because I think, and I'll watch and I'll just keep MSNBC on in that way. If anything happens.
Hey everybody, keep tapping like crazy. Please tap and share the live. If Lisa has a gifting goal today, please consider subscribing to her. Do all the things that y'all do. Subscribe to her channel on YouTube. Her pay apps are available on the screen. Go for it.
I have yours. Sorry, let me do that. Yeah, we are live on YouTube as well. A Girl Has No Name. These replays are always available there. Sorry, I'm actually on a different computer, so I had 2. Tell me if this is in the right place, because it's
got to go. It's got to go to your right. A little bit more.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's good right there. Either that or it has to go above my box, but I'm not sure if you're bringing other people in. That's fine. Political time with Kristen, we understand, but we'd rather have a house that's functioning. Nobody's a fan of Mike Johnson, but we need a house to function. So
yeah, and trust me, who is if not Mike Johnson, then who? Like, Mike Johnson is a bumbling idiot, but at least I think he's inherently not like scary. Do you know what I'm saying? It could get much worse. The devil, right. And all that.
Exactly. I mean, think about what he did. He's made it clear that he supports Ukraine. He was initially on board with the CR. He managed to push that through without the changes made through Doge. So I think that's there's a bright light. Who knows? A dim light. I'm not going to say bright. A dim light.
It's a dim light shining distantly at the end of the tunnel. No, and I'll say this. Mike Johnson's a coward. I don't see that as a bad thing for Democrats, right? Like, I don't see that as a bad thing. I think he doesn't like to stand up to his own party, but he does understand what has to happen, right? And even when I've been listening to him in the media the last couple of days, making a bunch of cowardly, ridiculous comments that are super annoying, he is saying, he's trying to say it, which is, hey, we cannot do anything in the 119th Congress without Democratic votes. He tries to say it in between a bunch of other BS. But he knows this. He can count. He knows the situation that they're in. He can count. And I heard him try to say it a couple times. And actually, they're losing votes. I don't know if everyone's aware of that. Like they could only, Thomas Massey was the only holdout they could have today. And they're actually going to lose, 3 seats? 2 seats, and until those special elections, they probably won't have them filled until April.
At the earliest, you're right.
Yeah, at the earliest. It's getting worse for them after today. It's actually getting worse. He's going to need Democrats, and I think Hakeem Jeffries made it clear, if we can take him at his word, that he wasn't going to get support from Democrats. So good luck. I mean, the sad part about that's why the congressional approval rating is like 22% or whatever the hell it is. Tap the screen. I don't know why I keep wanting to say y'all lately. I don't know why. Tap the screen, you guys.
Y'all.
Ladies and gentlemen. I think it's because I'm trying to be. I don't not like saying you guys. I want to say something like gender neutral, and I
Friends.
think friends. There you go. Tap the screen, friends. This is my Cash App and Venmo. Faxes is next to his box. Tips and donations are appreciated. That is how we keep our shows going. If you would like messages read aloud, you can tip us and we will read them aloud throughout the show. Also, gifts are appreciated, subscriptions. I'm trying to get back up to 500 subscriptions. If you can subscribe and support me, it would be highly appreciated. So we have a lot. There's a lot of stuff going on today. So let's get to it. We're going to go through the speaker vote and what happened because it's kind of funny. So first of all, I'll just give credit where credit's due. This is Aaron Rupar's thread. He's one of my favorite independent journalists. I love how he covers this stuff. He's really great at it and funny. So I just love him. This is the first thing. He's like, everyone's pretending to be on their phones and be important. And if you read the comments underneath this, he's like someone is literally like, or do you think they're on Grinder? Like it. I love.
Did you see your bestie? Police? Did you see your bestie, Nancy Mace, running around?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Margarine. No, I haven't. What was Nancy? I actually didn't see Nancy. I've been focused on Margarine, trying to pretend like people are trying to read her lips. Like, you're not doing anything, Margarine. Stop covering your mouth like you're doing something important.
Yeah, your bestie Nancy Mace was trying to insert herself like everywhere there was a conversation. She'd run from this little huddle to that little huddle to this little huddle.
I know, Nancy, and that's the thing. I think, and I don't think, yeah, because I wish you were here every day. But I was doing a piece like, the Republicans are turning on Nancy. They don't even like her. I'm talking about like the MAGA Republicans, like Charlie Kirk, Jack Posobiec. They do not like her. Like she has kind of overplayed her hand, and that's what I think she's doing now. She's trying to get involved in conversations, but like even the Republicans don't want you, Nancy. Like it's not good for. It's not, oh wait, let me turn the volume down because I think I'm going to create an echo. I just remembered I had it out to listen to this. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, Greenie and SC. We just saw that. We know that Mike Johnson is now the Speaker of the House. As expected.
So what we're doing, and I'm going to take us on a little journey. I'm going to go through the first round and also some stuff about the rules package. Jim McGovern, the gentleman from Massachusetts, my absolute favorite. He was doing a thread about the rules package that kind of started on the first and ended today. And so I thought that would be interesting as well. If you thought their dysfunction, disorganization, and disarray was bad before, buckle up, because it's about to get even worse. He was saying you'd think the Republicans might look at their failures and try to change course by working with Democrats, as we've been asking to address the major problems facing our country. You'd think, but you'd be wrong. And
Thank you, USMC Raid guys. Thank you, Raiders. We appreciate you.
Thank you guys, Mickey Angry Raid. Matt is amazing. Thank you guys for being here. This is about the rules package. Someone asked me yesterday if I had been looking into the rules package and I knew what was going on. I mean, yes. The only thing that I'm surprised about, and we don't have to go through all this, but I'll just say this. This is what I didn't know and what he told me, or that Jim McGovern was saying. Did you know that it's a new change? Let me figure out where he says it. I think it's here. Yeah, we've lost
the Republican motion to vacate.
I didn't know that in the 118th Congress that Democrats could have
always been like that.
I didn't know it was both. I thought it was only the Republicans, and now it's not. Well, if this rules package passes, only the Republicans can declare a motion to vacate. And then there's some other really disturbing stuff. Like there's next to nothing on jobs in the economy. But here's the scary part. The first 12 bills not only bypass regular order, they are totally closed, meaning no amendments at all from Democrats or Republicans. So they have 12 bills ready that they're about to just push straight through.
Yep.
That's
immigration. It's going to be DEI stuff. It's going to be those things that they've already identified. They want to change the name of some of the committees. Like really important legislation. Like, let's change the name of the committee that nobody knows what it does anyway. Yeah, that makes sense.
They have 12 bills already written. I mean, this is what the Heritage Foundation is for. They've been writing legislation. There are 12 bills that not even Republicans can amend that they are going to shove straight through the House. I mean, if they can, let's put it that way, because like I said, they're going to need votes. But that's what's scary about today. They showed, right, that they're willing to vote together. If they're willing to vote together, then they can do whatever they want.
It's true. It's so true. One of the other things that I saw in that rules package was funding for the office, funding for the office that was already gutted by the government spending bill that passed in March. They plan to roll in diversity inclusion office into the Office of Talent Management.
What? I didn't know.
That's one of the rules that they proposed. Yeah. So in the 36 package, formally, this is one of the 12, formally dissolves the Congressional Diversity and Inclusion Office, a long-standing target of House Republicans. And then funding for that office was already gutted by the government spending bill. And then they want to roll anything and everything to do with that office into the new Office of Talent Management.
The Office of Talent Management. God help us.
I know.
And this is what's her name? Sorry, I almost got it wrong. Michael Schnell. She is a reporter for The Hill, the publication The Hill. She's a Capitol Hill reporter. And she said, Johnson just entered the Capitol. I asked him what his message was to the GOP holdouts with 3 hours to go. He said, President Trump got 77 million votes. The House Republicans got almost 75 million. It's a record number. They're expecting us to get to work, and we don't have time for drama. So my simple message to my colleagues is make suggestions about process improvements. We're open to that at all times, but I don't make deals with anyone. There's no quid pro quo here. I don't do anything in exchange for a vote other than commit to make this institution work as effectively and efficiently as possible. This is not Mike Johnson. This is the power of President Musk and Trump. Do you know what I'm saying? Have you ever heard Mike Johnson speak this way in your life?
Nope. You know what's funny, Felice?
He did it. Someone wrote this and he memorized it.
Then the video that we just saw, him leaving the House floor with those two outstanding votes to go to a room and negotiate the quid pro quo to get their vote.
Oh, I think my opinion I'm so glad you brought that up, because when I read this quote, I was like, oh, Mike Johnson never said this. Someone wrote this and he committed it to memory. And then the reason I feel like, because they didn't necessarily have to leave the floor if you're negotiating. I think they were probably in a room because Trump called or Elon Musk called. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I don't think this is Mike Johnson. This doesn't sound like Mike Johnson. And I think whatever they were doing in that room, whoever was throwing their weight around, wasn't Mike Johnson, or it was Mike Johnson delivering a message like, we're going to primary you, like, get in line.
Exactly.
But I also wasn't expecting, and we'll get to this, but I was not expecting it to be Ralph Norman and Keith Self. Like, what?
Yeah, their names weren't even on we heard about Chip Roy, we heard about Victoria Sparks, but I didn't hear either one of them. Thomas Massey, we know, is the holdout, and he's going to stick to his guns, but I never heard about the other ones. Definitely.
And even Chip Roy, when Chip Roy finally ended up voting, I was like, wow, because Chip Roy and Thomas Massey are in deeply red districts. There's probably no way to primary them. Like they're probably the two that are completely immune from Trump primaries, and that's why they throw their weight around. You can't oust Thomas Massey. So,
Joe, you're right. The room where it happened from Hamilton. You're right. The room where it happened. You're exactly right. That's kind of what I'm thinking about too. Good call.
Tap the screen. Let's get to 50K, guys. Share the live. Please share the live with 5 people. If you don't have people to share it with, just push that arrow button and push the copy link button. That counts as a share. Tapping is clapping. Let's get as many taps as we can. I appreciate it. This is Jim McGovern. He was again responding to that quote that Michael Schnell was reporting, Mike Johnson said. And he said, Speaker Johnson says he is open to process improvements at all times. Then why did he block all of the dozens of rule change ideas offered by members of both parties at the Rules Committee just 3 months ago? The one big change he made only benefits him.
Of course.
And again, that's Mike Johnson is not this guy. Like, this is someone else pushing people around for Mike Johnson. I don't give Mike Johnson this much credit. You know what I'm saying? Ever. Agreed. For any reason. Agreed. Oh, I need to pull up my outline really quick.
Is that
Sorry.
Jason Crow? Is that guy's name?
These are the holdouts in the back of the room. These are the slackers in the back of the room. This is right before the first round started. You could see Andy Biggs, Eli Crane. They're from my state of Arizona. They're Freedom Caucus members. Crow is back there. Andy Harris, who's now since Bob Good was ousted, he's now the Freedom Caucus chair. He was expected. These are all the people that didn't vote in the first, excuse me. They ended up voting at the end, but when their names were called originally, most of them didn't vote. They think they're so tough.
They're like the Breakfast Club of Congress.
Exactly. They're looking like, detention. Oh, we're going to do something. None of you did anything. Like, stop. None of you did anything.
The clerk is in receipt of a letter from the Honorable Matt Gaetz of the state of Florida indicating that he will not serve in the House in the 119th Congress.
Everyone claps.
Without objection, the letters relating to his resignation will be printed in the record.
I just think it's funny that literally the whole house was clapping. The whole house is clapping because Mike Johnson is not going to be there. Matt Gaetz is not going to be there. Which, by the way, Matt Gaetz, his show on OAN started last night. Did you see his face?
Oh, I don't even know how you would describe it.
Oh, well, I think Ron Filipkowski did it pretty. Don't worry. I got some clips from it because I can't believe it's what he did to himself. Do you guys remember he was at the RNC in Milwaukee and then the night before he was to speak, I guess he saw his filler lady, his esthetician. Yeah. He did it again. It's like the Wayne Newton sex blow up doll look. It's unbelievable. So his eyebrows are
Somebody asked me this question earlier because when he resigned from the 118th Congress. He did win re-election, so he could have served in the 119th Congress, which is a weird thing, right? That's a weird thing. So he needed to submit that letter formally.
Well, yes, and it's even more weird because they released the report and no one even cares. So what? Could he have just come back and been oh, never mind. Apparently, no one cares. Could he have just been just kidding?
He could have. Yeah,
I know. That's
he only resigned from the 118th though. He didn't resign from this one. He resigned from the last one. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Could he have just showed up today?
Yeah,
that's what I'm asking. That's crazy. That's crazy.
I know.
I was wondering, why are they even saying this? I thought maybe he was going to come back in. And I hate Lisa McClain. Can we just please listen? She's not kidding. Oh, whoopsies. Hold on. I went one too far.
This is why we are focused on the issues that the majority of Americans care about. God, family, country, faith, freedom, and traditional American values.
Wow.
So, you know what I care about and what I think MAGA is starting to care about, at least MAGA, the smarter ones on X, is who's robbing us. Why don't you mention that? Why don't we? I don't care about, I don't even know. Those are abstract ideas that don't do anything for me. I care about who's stealing all of our money.
Yeah,
And
I
like,
didn't hear anything about health care or women's rights to their body or
exactly.
protection for marginalized communities. I heard
Going
none
to
of
the
that.
doctor and
Yeah.
like the ever increasing wealth inequality in this country. Like,
Yeah,
that's what
no.
I care about. Nobody cares about those things, Lisa McLean. Get it together. I love Pete Aguilar. Oh,
There's
is he the second? Is he the second? Is he number 2 in the Democratic Party in the House, or is he 3? Is Ted
I
Lieu
think he's
second? He's he's the
no,
caucus chair. He's
he
the
is.
Democratic caucus chair.
I forget her name. She always sits next to Hakeem.
Clark. Clark is the
Yes,
whip.
Catherine Clark. Yeah,
She's the
she's the
whip. That's
She's
3.
awesome. So
Okay.
I think it is. It's either one of the, you're right. It's either Ted Lieu or Aguilar. I like them
Ted.
both.
I think
Just goes to show
it's
you the difference in leadership.
yeah. I haven't seen Ted. I didn't see Ted Lieu today.
only one leader who knows how to negotiate a bipartisan deal and then stick to that deal.
I just love him. I love me some Hakeem Jeffries.
And while compromise remains a dirty word for so many, Congress won't be able to keep the lights on, let alone pass anything of substance, without the buy-in and blessing of House Democrats and Hakeem Jeffries.
And that's the painful truth. Get ready. I'm so tired
I mean,
of hearing about the mandate. The mandate. You guys have a smaller, you guys couldn't pass anything in the 118th Congress. You have a smaller majority now.
That's an interesting thing to say, though, because I feel like MAGA Republicans can use that statement against Democrats if no legislation gets passed, right? They could use that, meaning that, Democrats said that they were going to help us pass legislation, and now they're not, because we know that the Republican Party cannot legislate. They cannot, they're not front runners. They would prefer to be the chaos agents. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess in a way, I don't know if I care.
Good point. That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point. We don't want to help them for sure.
I mean, it depends on what we're helping. I'm starting to think differently about that. There are some things like, Trump wants to lift the debt ceiling. That, like, Elizabeth Warren has a bill out to abolish it. Like, maybe there are things the Democrats can get while Trump is trying to rob the country. I don't know. I think there might be a few gems that we could find, but yeah, in general, I think we should not help them. Let them melt down on their own.
When the incoming administration wanted to raise the debt limit by trillions of dollars in order to finance tax cuts for the wealthy, the well-off, and the well-connected, leaving middle-class families to pay for the bill and leaving them high and dry. Hakeem Jeffries didn't just say no, he said, That's why there is only one true candidate today for Speaker. So, Mr. Clerk, I am honored to rise today at the direction of the House Democratic Caucus to place into nomination for election to the position of Speaker of the House of Representatives, the pride of Brooklyn, the gentleman from New York, Hakeem Jeffries.
A gentleman from New York.
Vibe.
So I know the Republicans are like, I guess we're electing Mike Johnson begrudgingly. Who said that in the comments? Foster, you seem upset. If you would like to talk to us, you're welcome to request. I'm open to hearing other, opposing opinions. You said, what did you say? 17 days can't come quick enough. You're welcome to talk about it. I think you'll be fine.
Are you going to Disney World again, Foster?
Oh, do you know who Foster is?
I don't. I was just wondering.
Oh, he's excited for. Yeah, I know. So wait,
Disney
who
World.
said that? You're excited for the shit show. Exactly. Welcome to the shit show.
He did, Diana. He did. We're just recapping.
Biggs of Arizona. Biggs of Arizona.
See,
Biggs of South Carolina.
President Trump's
endorse candidate Mike Johnson.
Sorry, I couldn't make it stop playing for a second. Yeah, I just hate Andy Biggs. Andy Biggs is from Arizona. He's the bane of my existence. And I also loved, like, this is ridiculous. So this is obviously the only round of the speaker vote. These people know that they're going to vote for Mike Johnson and are trying to act like, you know what I mean? Like the defiant kids in the back of the classroom. If you're going to vote for him anyways, just vote for him.
Exactly.
Do you know what I'm saying? If you're not even going to hold out for one round, this is embarrassing. Andy Biggs, sad. You're sad.
It also does show, Felicia, I wonder if you agree with this, how hated Kevin McCarthy was. Because it took 15 votes and all kind of deals with the devil for him to get elected the last time, right?
Oh, you know what? And and I'll say this, the reason I spent so much time keeping an eye on Matt Gaetz, and I had to watch him looking like blow up sex doll Wayne Newton yesterday, watching his show, is because he's very intelligent, right? Matt Gaetz is smart, and I don't want to give Matt Gaetz credit, but he is smart. And you know what? Matt Gaetz had a really good point about that. Matt Gaetz said, he's like, max 2 rounds, but I don't think it will go past 1 round. He called it. And you know what the reason was he gave? And as soon as he said it, I was like, God damn it, he's right. Like he said, if Trump needed to be confirmed on January 6th as president, he's like, the only reason we did that to Kevin McCarthy was because it was midterms. Right. There was no one, or he's like, if a Democrat needed to be, their election needed to be confirmed, maybe we would have done it. But if we have to confirm a Republican president, we're not going to do that. He's like, so that's why I know it won't happen this time.
Party over country.
Exactly. And he was right. I mean, and he turned out to be right. Like there were a bunch of holdouts, Michael Cloud, Andrew Clyde, all these people tried to look tough while not voting. Paul Gosar, another Arizona, Arizona has the most Freedom Caucus members in existence. We do. It's so embarrassing. Hold on.
Is Andy Biggs your rep?
Oh God, no! No, he's not my rep. He's Mesa. Like he has a very red area in Mesa it's a pretty big stronghold. No, not mine. Good. I am someone even worse. David Schweiker, another Freedom Caucus rep. We all have them. Yeah, I think we have like 7. And Paul Gosar is another one. He's in a really obscure area. He's impossible to oust. His own family comes out against him every time he's up for re-election. And it's like, this man is a horrible person. And still, he is reelected every single time.
So we get massive members of the Freedom Caucus out of Arizona, and we get you, Felice. I mean, seriously, what the hell's up with that dichotomy?
I know. Well, that's what, some of us have to rise up in resistance.
Exactly.
This was one of the crazy, there were some good moments of this speaker vote. And so Al Green, do you guys remember who Al Green is? Okay, so remember when they eventually did impeach Mayorkas, Secretary Mayorkas, for whatever they said he did, like dereliction of duty or something weird. But the first vote failed because Mike Johnson can't count, right? And Al Green remember he wheeled in, he pulled the cords out of himself in the hospital and wheeled into the vote to vote. That Al Green, yes, he literally got an Uber from the hospital.
That's right. He was on death's door.
Yeah, he was on death's door and hobbled in. It was it stopped Mayorkas from being impeached the first time or whatever. Yeah. Right. So yeah, that's Al Green. So Al Green, they call him to vote and he just starts making a speech and Republicans are just start booing and screaming. Oh wait, hold on.
That's right, Miss Krish. He had no shoes on. That's right. He literally came out of his Uber and did the vote and then head back to the hospital.
He was
awesome.
a mess. Like he is my hero. I'll never forget that moment. And Hakeem Jeffries, I like did an interview and was like, I told him not to show up here, that he didn't have to come, and he just told me he didn't care and he was coming. And that's when I knew I loved him. Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna look. I think I have a video of Al Green giving a speech and pissing off Republicans, like what it was about. I have so many clips. Actually, I know how I can do it. Let me just pull up my outline, and because this is Aaron Rupar made a great thread on this. I just want everyone to see it because I love him so much. Give me 1 second. Okay, this should work.
Yeah, Dust Bunny, Senator Felice, I agree.
Oh no, I'm a dissenter. That's the problem with me doing something like that. Like I don't know if I want to be part of the machine or I want to resist it. I'm not like Kamala Harris.
We need more dissenters.
And still I rise for the preferred candidate of liberty and justice for all, the hope and dream of his great
The gentleman may respond by survey.
He's got no more fucks to give.
He does not care. This man does not care about decorum. Like I'm here for it. Like he still has a cane. I love him. He's my god. I love that man. Al Green still has a cane and is like waving it around at people like an angry old man. Like I'm here for all of that. And
Like,
Stacey Plaskett, did you?
Jeffords.
I can't wait to show you. Oh no, sorry. I'm just excited because
he votes for House Speaker, and then he has the kids get off my lawn moment with his cane in the air.
Exactly. He's like, remember me? Remember me? The guy that showed up in like a hospital gown and stopped your BS? Like, that's me.
Love that
Yeah.
guy.
And Aaron, so sorry, let me make this a little smaller. Aaron said, I'm not going to list each of the Republicans who has refused to vote, but it's enough where it's a problem for Johnson, if in fact it had been a problem. That's Andy Harris. This is the Freedom Caucus chair, the new one since Trump ousted Bob Good, which, oh my God, I have the funniest clips to show you. Fox News, it's not that I don't care about this speaker vote. I'm so disturbed by the amount of lying that Fox News has done this week. Newsmax should get an award for telling the truth compared to Fox News this week.
Scary to say that.
I know. Imagine that. And Brian Kilmeade this morning had Jim Jordan. I'll show you guys the clip later. Had Jim Jordan on Fox and Friends. And he's like, well, Jim Jordan's like, Thomas Massey is the only holdout. And Jim Jordan turned out to be right. And he's like, as long as Thomas Massey is the only one who's dead serious, we're good. And Brian Kilmeade's like, no, you have a bigger problem than that. Bob Good just said he's not voting for Mike Johnson. And Jim Jordan's like, yeah, Bob Good's not in Congress anymore. Like, Fox is literally, and Brian Kilmeade's just like, oh, I guess I should have said that. It's like, yeah, Trump primaried him. Like, wake up. But yeah. So anyways, this is the new Bob Good. And he sat there like a petulant child when it was his turn to be called. I honestly can't even. Then I don't know if you guys know this. It's tradition when like the speakers or the leaders vote for themselves to cheer, So Jeffries and Johnson vote for themselves and everyone cheers, essentially. Okay.
Johnson of Georgia. Jeffries. Johnson of Louisiana. Johnson.
Do you remember when Kevin McCarthy did that 15 times?
Yeah, exactly.
It was like
Simping.
it was so shameful. Like it was no longer fun. It was just sad.
Do you remember there was almost a fight on the floor? That guy went after Matt Gaetz during the voting for Kevin McCarthy.
And his toupee was almost falling off. That's
Exactly.
That's the Mike Johnson that was just called from Alabama, or isn't it? Like, isn't he also a Johnson? Yeah, his toupee was falling off. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that was one of the greatest moments of the House
Agreed.
floor of all time. And after everything, Thomas Massey, you vote for Tom Emmer. Like, that is the worst part about it. Tom Emmer is the same person. He works for Mike Johnson. You voted for, you're like, I would never vote for Mike Johnson, so you could vote for Tom Emmer.
Massey.
Tom Emmer.
Emmer.
That's literally Johnson's number 2. So, or 3. It's one of them. So that makes 0 sense.
Norman. Jordan.
And that was my worst fear. Like, Jim Jordan is the new Matt Gaetz, though. I don't think Jim Jordan
not as smart.
Oh, definitely not as smart. No, that's both barely past the bar, but that's Matt Gaetz just doesn't care because he's a Nepo baby. Jim Jordan is definitely not as smart as Matt Gaetz. 100%.
The Honorable Jeffries.
And again, that was Nancy Pelosi. She got a standing ovation, and like Hakeem Jeffries hugged her. She hobbled in with a broken hip.
Yeah. Somebody asked him the question, why are there kids? It's kind of a tradition. It's for new members of Congress typically, because again, some of the new members are there. That's part of it. They often bring their family. So that's why you see people standing around in the back, because it's a big deal, which was also on January 6th. A lot of people had their families there for the same reason. It's their first opportunity to do something, actually do their job. So that's why you see kids there.
Well, yeah, and also, so after the speaker's selected, then they swear in new members. So that's why the families are there. But think about that in terms of the 118th Congress. That's why it was so messed up what they did to Kevin McCarthy, because like there were like children there who were going to see their dad or mom be sworn in, and then it was just a S show where people were trying to fight on the House floor in front of families.
So true. Party at the
Roy.
I can't.
Rui.
Roy acts like nobody, like he's just a statue. I heard that it was reported, at least on MSNBC when I was listening, that he had a call with Trump. Like Trump personally called him and was like, "What can we do to get your vote?"
I mean, could anybody really? I mean, think of it this way. So even if you're a Republican holdout and Trump promises you something, do you really believe that he's going to fulfill his promise to you? Like, I mean,
no.
I mean, what are you gonna get? You know, the guy lies. Like, what are you gonna get?
I completely agree. Well, not from Trump. Like,
exactly.
I think and I don't even know if there was anything he could Trump could promise. It's just more probably the threat. And like I said, he's probably the closest. Thomas Massey, the reason Thomas Massey does whatever he does, nobody can oust him from his district. It would be next to impossible. I mean, he straight up said that. Like, when they were threatening him over funding the government. He broke down the numbers. He's like, on average, if Trump tries to primary you, maybe even 30 points. He's like, I can't be ousted from my district if Trump gets my opponent 30 points.
That's right.
So, and then Chip Roy's the next in probably most entrenched.
Starting round 2, Mike Johnson won the speakership. There was some holdout votes that they just finalized, and he was just elected speaker. So, sorry, Andy.
Hi, Julian. Yeah, we're just going through what happened in the first and only round of the speaker vote, and then we're going to go through other things. But we're just kind of reviewing what happened right now. Oh, I thought this was fun.
Self. Donalds.
like, stop voting for Byron Donalds. He really thinks like people like him. Do you know what I mean? That's why I can't stand it. Do you remember when Byron Donalds was getting votes in the 118th Congress? He
I do.
changed his Wikipedia like within a day. And it said
Yeah.
nominate, like, oh my God. Byron Donalds. Hey, did you guys know Byron Donalds is still waiting for that cabinet position? Do you think
That's
that,
right.
do you think it's coming?
Tim Scott, too.
Yeah, Tim Scott, Byron Donalds. You guys thought you were going to be vice president, Trump's VP, and you guys are still waiting for those cabinet positions. Like, what's going on? Any day now, guys. Any day now. You guys are gonna, you
They
guys
didn't
are
get
going to
asked
get
to
it.
the prom.
It's so sad. I thought this was really funny. Kevin McCarthy watching Johnson fall short of the votes.
That's great. That's great.
Except for
Wow.
not short enough. Oh, this is the best moment of the
Best
whole
part.
round. This
Mhm.
is pretty much what I wanted to show you guys. I love Stacey Plaskett. If I always hear people saying I love Jasmine Crockett, Stacey Plaskett is effing amazing. She's well, now who's in charge of is it Raskin is now in charge of judiciary?
He's the minority leader. Yep.
Yeah, well, she used to fill in when what's his name? She was like the second in charge of judiciary under Jerry Nadler.
Correct.
Yeah, Plaskett is amazing, and so she rises to try to recognize, all of these territories of the United States that don't have representation in Congress and don't get to vote.
For what purpose does the gentlelady from the Virgin Islands seek recognition?
Speaker, I have a parliamentary inquiry. I note that the names of the representatives from the Americas Samoa, Guam, Northern Mariana, Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, and the District of Columbia were not called, representing collectively 4 million Americans. Mr. Speaker, collectively the largest per capita of veterans in this country.
Does the gentlelady have a parliamentary
I asked
inquiry?
why they were not called. Have some respect. It's not going to take...
Republicans are trying to boo her for just trying to take a moment and acknowledge 4 million people, millions of people that don't have a vote in this, today.
Republicans will boo because they know if DC and or Puerto Rico had senators, there would be 4 Democratic senators.
Oh, for sure. That's why it's delusional that they're like, oh, let's annex Canada. How do you think that's going to go? A bunch of people who are used to universal health care. I wonder which way that will go for you.
Yeah.
It's delusional.
I had somebody the other day said, what if, in my live, they said, what if the U.S., what if Trump followed through on his threats and he invaded Mexico? And he's like, do you think that Canada would come to Mexico's aid? I'm like, yeah, I do. Like, what? Why would they support the aggressor? That's not what the Canadians do. This is how lost our friends on the right are. They're delusional. Due respect. No.
Oh my God. I was playing this little segment when Laura Ingraham was gone. Who was it? Oh, I can't remember her name. Kayleigh McEnany was filling it. Yeah. Did a segment with the most annoying Canadian, Kevin. What's the guy? Kevin O'Leary, the billionaire, Kevin, Mr. Wonderful. Yeah. And he's giving all the reasons why it's positive for Canada to be annexed into the United States. And then they found one guy. They took a quote from some guy who's like, I think it would breathe new life into Canada to be part of the United States. And she's like, see, here's a guy. It's that's all Fox does is get random anecdotal statements from people. and be like, see, we found a Canadian who's okay with it.
The one guy in Manitoba.
Literally, they had one quote from one man.
Gentlelady is recognized.
I asked why they were not called from the parliamentarian, please.
Delegates-elect and the resident commissioner-elect are not qualified to vote. Representatives-elect are the only individuals qualified to vote in the election of a speaker. As provided in Section 36 of the House Rules and Manual, the Speaker is elected by a majority of the members-elect voting by surname.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This body and this nation has a territories and a colonies problem. What was supposed to be temporary has now effectively become permanent. We must do something about this problem so that these 4 million...
Turn the mic off.
But I have a voice, and
Queen.
Loves, you don't even know. I love her. Like, that's what I'm saying. If you like Jasmine Crockett, Stacey Plaskett is an absolute force. Like, she is, watch her in the judiciary. She tears people to pieces, just recreationally,
She's amazing. Yeah, she is amazing. Yep.
She's everything.
Just think about that, right? Think about what we have, the Democratic Party has in its caucus. You've got people like her, and Jasmine Crockett, and Max Frost, and Jamie Raskin, and the list goes on and on and on, and AOC, and then you compare that to what the faces that we know. I mean, aside from Felice's bestie, Nancy Mace, there's a lot. It's not even a fair fight intellectually. It's crazy. And yet, here we are.
Guys, we're asking how to spell Plaskett, Plaskett, Stacey Plaskett. It's right here. Just showing you guys. I mean, that's pretty much the best part of the first round was what she did. It was pretty amazing. I loved it. I was here for every second. And then it was just ridiculous because after making that giant show, Chip Roy, because what happens is a bunch of people just didn't vote when their names are called. That doesn't necessarily mean they can't vote. At the end of the roll call, once they go all the way through alphabetical order, they recall the last names of everyone who didn't vote. And pretty much all of those people voted, except for, oh my gosh, Keith Self, Roy Norman from South Carolina, and of course, my God, Thomas Massey.
They just voted for somebody different.
Or they voted for someone else, yeah. So, I mean, but those were the three that actually did something. The rest were just people trying to look cool who then voted for Mike Johnson, like Chip Roy. I'm a little disappointed, Chip. A little especially when I heard MSNBC say that he had a personal call with Trump. That's when I was like, gross. Chip Roy, you made such a show.
Roy. Johnson.
Boo. Don't pretend like you're a holdout if you're not. And don't give big speech I don't know. You're not who we thought you were. Yeah.
Nope.
This is so funny what Aaron Rupar was writing. This is after when Mike Johnson was starting to try to, wheel and deal to, make some promises to get the two holdouts to switch their votes because they knew Thomas Massey would never switch, but they were trying to get Norman and Self to switch. And he's like, okay, I'll give you the second segment of Hannity tonight, but you need to give me 2 hits on Maria's show next week. It's so true. That's literally what these people are bargaining for. It's gross.
The visual was great. The visual was great because you saw Mike Johnson leaving the House floor with Ralph Norman and Keith Self, and Thomas Massey's sitting over there with MTG because Johnson knew that he was not going to be able to move Massey. So it was either those two or he's not going to be the speaker. So, yeah.
Nobody can move Massey. He's so entrenched in his district. And also, Margarine was sitting next to him just to be on camera. Get out of there, Margarine. You're ridiculous. Stop trying to act like you're doing something. You're not doing anything. This is just them having conversations before they went out of the room, probably so Trump could talk to them, because Mike Johnson, you're not in control of anything. This is what I was talking about. This is Marjorie Taylor Greene trying to act like she's on the phone. Marjorie Taylor Greene is on a phone call and trying to prevent people from reading her lips. Like, you're not on the phone, Marjorie. Please stop. Thomas Massey has lost some weight, by the way. Have you noticed? He's a lot skinnier than, it's almost kind of like, are you okay, Thomas? He's gotten real skinny.
Oh, Zempic through the Congressional Healthcare Program.
I know. They have great healthcare. Don't even get me started on that. I'm so sick of these people. Anyways, that was the first round. Mike Johnson is speaker. I actually do believe truly that is the best thing for the Democrats. I don't think it would be better if we had Andy Harris, or certainly not Jim Jordan, or anything of that nature.
Totally agree with you. Totally agree.
Yeah, I think this is the best thing. I'm just switching to my regularly scheduled album. Tap the screen. We can get to 100K. Keep tapping. Please gift Fax. Thank him for being here every Friday. We appreciate it so much. His Cash App is next to him. This is my Cash App and Venmo. If you would like to tip us, we will read aloud whatever the message says. I need to...
Joseph in Texas too says, let's turn Vermont red. Vermont will be red as soon as Alabama turns blue. So I'll leave that right there.
Let's turn Vermont red. Yeah, that's going to be a hard sell. The great state of Vermont. Yeah, good luck with that.
Good luck with that.
I would never. That's going to be the hardest thing. The mission of like a effing lifetime. I'm sorry to do this to you. This is the real outline I made before the speaker vote. I have to say that is exactly what I thought would happen with the speaker vote. I'm largely uninterested in it. I think there's other things bothering me more, and I'm sorry in advance for what I'm about to show you guys. But when I have to see these types of things happen, so do you. This is New Year's Eve. This is Elon and Trump. I'm just going to let it play for a while. Tap the screen. Let's get to 100K, or this is playing forever. This is almost as bad as Lara Trump singing yesterday. You missed it. I had all clips.
Look at Elon's hands. Like, what's the thing? It's like the open hands. He's got his hands like open. What the hell is he doing?
No, he's there. It's honestly, I don't know which one is worse. It's so awful. They both have no rhythm, like not an ounce of rhythm. They are so far off the beat. Do you remember at like that the Trump rally back in Butler, Pennsylvania, when Elon Musk was like jumping up and down? He couldn't even like jump up and down like a normal person. Like
no.
So okay, I'm sorry. Trigger warning. I'm about to show you Matt Gaetz's face.
Buckle up, friends. We haven't seen this.
This is a fair trigger warning. I don't want anyone to be shocked by what they are about to see. If you remember the RNC, Matt Gaetz looked one way for the first 2 days, and then he was going to, get on stage, and he got some fillers the night before, and people were like, what the F is going on? So he seems to do this. It is a tradition for him before something big, like a big speech. And yesterday was the start of his show, which is aptly, as the narcissist, in my opinion, he is, named the Matt Gaetz Show. On OAN. I know. What else would we call it on OAN? And this is his look. I'm not even. What in the mother?
Look at it.
I don't know.
He's got Trump's makeup artist, apparently.
He did not look like this yesterday. That's all. This is exactly what happened to him during the RNC. He looked completely different yesterday. I look at Raw Filikowski. I see Matt Gaetz winning. I see Matt Gaetz winning to ask for the Wayne Newton face before his OAN debut tonight.
It's true.
Wow. That is the Wayne Newton. That's the good old and like Is Matt Gaetz that old? I didn't like, he's not even, is he old? He's
35,
not
36, I think.
No, he's not. He's that young and he's doing this with his face. How old is chat? Can someone look up how old Matt Gaetz is? We did some crowdsource. He's 38. No, he's not 38. So. I refuse to believe that.
I thought he was 38.
He's 38. Is anyone looking this up for real? He's 40. Okay, we have
40. He's 42.
He is. Did you look it up?
Yep.
Yeah, there's no reason you need this much work.
Even at 42.
That's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say this is not because he like needs it or something. Like he's just, I don't know. You don't look, he can't possibly look better like this.
Felice, and think about this, right? Matt Gaetz is a well-known figure nationally, but love him or leave him, but he's a well-known figure nationally. He leaves Congress. He's now a predator. We know that from the ethics report, and he ends up on freaking OAN. I mean, talk about like seriously. He ends up on OAN. Wow.
Oh my God. And they're acting like they caught a prize too. The show, I'll just say the show was not good. His guests were his own friends, right? Like it was Thomas Massey and Lauren Boebert and like two other people. It was here. I have a couple of clips just, because of course I did.
Look at him. Oh my God.
Tonight on the Matt Gaetz Show, the battle for the gavel is heating up with a group of GOP holdouts putting a snag in Speaker Mike Johnson's plans. We'll have Representatives Lauren Boebert, Thomas Massey, and Victoria Spartz on to discuss what they expect for Friday's critical vote. Plus, deadly attacks strike New Orleans and the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. We'll have retired Army Colonel and DoD Intel operative Tony Shaffer and retired CIA officer Sam Faddis on for a closer look into what's behind New Year's terror. See you at 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 Pacific.
Oh no, I don't know what's happening. And it's not just the filler, it's also the makeup. That's what I think also, because like, what is happening? I don't even know. So it's bad theater cat makeup.
So true.
It's not just, that's what the comments under these. Oh my God, people. What? And I got these from OAN and like MAGA was like, are you okay? This is Boebert on the show.
Oh gosh, look at her.
I do believe that Mike Johnson.
I know, like, what are you wearing? You're
coming out and committing to Chip Roy being the chairman of the Rules Committee would secure the vote on the first round with no significant battle afterwards.
That's what I was going to say. Right. This is what they were, if they were trying to angle for something, this is what they wanted. Like, they did try for something. They wanted Chip Roy to be on the Rules Committee. And you saw that Mike Johnson quote, which I don't believe he wrote. Like, they're like, I will make no deals. Go F yourself. F around and find out, basically. But that's what they wanted. They wanted Chip Roy to be in charge of the Rules Committee. So, and if you don't know, whoever is in charge of the Rules Committee can basically stop bills from going to the floor.
It's true.
And that's what they wanted. And actually, I would have liked that. You know what I mean? Because Chip Roy, basically, think about it. If Trump's going to do something outrageous in terms of tax cuts, whatever, Chip Roy would probably actually try to stop him.
And I know you know this, and a lot of other people may not, because we always hear about oversight. We always hear about the Judiciary Committee, but the Rules Committee is the most important committee in the House because
100%.
They set the agenda for everything. They are the
gatekeepers to the floor.
Exactly.
Nothing comes to the House floor. No bills pass, but through the Rules Committee. Those are the most powerful people. That's why when Kevin McCarthy went 15 rounds and gave up everything, he put all Freedom Caucus members. That's how Margarine got on the Rules Committee. Like, these were unqualified people that had no business anywhere near the Rules Committee, and they all got on it. It was ridiculous. Anyways, and this is another example also of Thomas Massey looks very different than he used to. Look at him. And
if Chip Roy were asked to serve as
if you could stop looking at Matt Gaetz, like you can't. But if you could, then Thomas Massey has lost like 40 or 50 pounds.
Easily,
maybe more, maybe 60.
Chip Roy were asked to serve as chairman of the Rules Committee, would that be enough to get your vote for Mike Johnson?
Oh no, you can pull all my fingernails out. You can shove bamboo up in them. You can start cutting off my fingers. I am not voting for Mike Johnson tomorrow. And you can take that to the bank. You
Who
know
are you
that,
voting for,
Matt.
Thomas? Who are you voting for?
He would not say. Because he doesn't care.
That's great.
Tom Emmer is the same. He voted for Tom Emmer today. That's the same as voting for Mike Johnson. Susan, thank you. Happy New Year to you too. I appreciate the tip. Tap the screen. Are we at 100K yet? Tap, tap, tap. We're almost to 100K. Let's keep tapping. Tapping is clapping. I know. And he's serious. Thomas Massey is serious. He cannot stand Mike Johnson. Oh man, do I have some good stuff to show you guys today? I'm excited. So yesterday, and this is what I was saying. I don't really care about the House Speaker vote. Bigger things are happening. Bernie Sanders is making some moves, and I like what he's doing. So I was talking to you guys about Nick Fuentes just in a constant battle right now on X against Elon Musk. So first of all, I just want to show you a clip of Nick Fuentes, and then I'm going to bring it, and then we'll get to like how this all relates to what Bernie Sanders is up to.
Sorry. Thank you for your vote. Now go fuck yourself. That's the message from the Republican Party for the next 4, 8, 16, 100, 1,000 years. Thank you for your vote. Now go fuck off until the next election.
I mean, I don't want to agree with Nick Fuentes. He's gross. We went over this. There's basically a battle going on at X. It's like poor bigots versus rich bigots.
It's true. He gets it though.
But he's spot on. Like he's like, we all voted for this is what they needed. These rich billionaires needed our votes, and now they're basically laughing at us, laughing all the way to the bank. And he's right. He could not be more right. So this is where Bernie Sanders comes in. And like, this is what I'm saying. Bernie Sanders is doing an amazing job. Bernie Sanders has won the hearts and minds of the OG MAGA, right? This is him yesterday. He said, Elon Musk is wrong. And this is what I've been saying. Bernie Sanders is spot on, and he actually has the data to back it up. The main function of the H-1B visa program is not to hire the best and brightest, but rather to replace good-paying American jobs with low-wage, indentured servants from abroad. The cheaper the labor they hire, the more money the billionaires make. And he released some really good information. I actually got some AI to read it for us. I don't feel like reading all this. Hold on.
There has been a lot of discussion lately about the H-1B guest worker program. Elon Musk and a number of other billionaire tech company owners have argued that this federal program is vital to our economy because of the scarcity of highly skilled American engineers and other tech workers. I disagree. The main function of the H-1B visa program and other guest worker initiatives is not to hire the best and the brightest, but rather to replace good-paying American jobs with low-wage indentured servants from abroad. The cheaper the labor they hire, the more money the billionaires make. In 2022 and 2023, the top 30 corporations using this program laid off at least 85,000 American workers while they hired over 34,000 new HIB guest workers.
I'll say, like in this, and if you want to read this, you can look this up. This is all from what Bernie Sanders posted yesterday. It is on his X. I assume he's on Blue Sky too. I learned a lot of things I did not previously know. Maybe I'll read this instead of this scary voice because it's sounding a little scary and disturbing. But I mean, what he's talking about are the facts about the H-1B. I also, in today's outline, included some articles. There's some good analyses. I found there's a government website. Actually, let me show you guys this because it's fascinating. I took some screenshots, but I have to leave this. There's a government website where you can look up corporations who are using the H-1B visa program, which I didn't previously know that you could look up these screenshots. Let me find them if they are in fact here. Oh, maybe.
While you're looking that up, everybody, please keep tapping and sharing. If Felice has a gifting goal, please consider subscribing. She's pushing towards 500 subscribers. You can see her pay apps are on the screen. She'll read any message as long as it's not too crazy. But again, we're working towards 100K in likes, please, friends. And please join her team if you haven't done that yet. Tapping is clapping, sharing is caring.
Sorry, I have so many devices. I want to find these. I want to read this really quick if I can find them. Oh, here they are. I'm just trying to think.
There's a headline from The Independent about Matt Gaetz that says, "Holy makeup and Botox Batman." In regard to Matt Gaetz.
I love it. No, that's what I can't remember. I can't remember, so I won't say who said it. But somebody, after he did that again on at the RNC, they called him a blow up sex doll. They're like, why does it was a Republican in the House called him a blow up sex doll? It's not me. That is what he looks like. I don't know why. I don't know why he gives people the fodder to do this to him. Here we go. Okay, I just want to show you again. This is just an example. This is a government website that you can use. And this is showing, do you know who has the most? I guess we know why Jeff Bezos is backing Trump now and hanging out at Mar-a-Lago. Guess he has the most. And this is, by the way, this is just one company owned by Jeff Bezos that has the most H-1B visas. There are subsidiary companies of Amazon that are also on this list if you go through them. These are the corporations using the most H-1B visas. It's gross.
Look at that list, you guys. You see Meta on there, Amazon,
Walmart, Intel, Deloitte, Ernst Young. Those are huge accounting firms. They are charging. They're getting accountants to do work that we would pay, in the six figures for like $50,000. Amazon. Then you see Amazon again.
First? Is it supposed to be America first, Felice?
It's America last. Like, that's it. I wish you were here yesterday. Yeah, I don't want to agree, but I definitely agree with MAGA on this. It is America last. Like, you promised these people jobs and like you got their votes and you're effing them over. Like, I can't stand it. Where is Salesforce? I mean, and these are all the tech companies. You want to know why the tech bros are all hanging out at Mar-a-Lago? They are all NVIDIA. NVIDIA is that's our largest chip maker. Tesla. There's Tesla. Tesla's at 22. And
keep it in mind. So NVIDIA, our largest chip maker, benefited from the Chips and Science Act to build factories and plants across the country, government subsidies, and now this is what they're going to do.
You see 28 and 30 or other Amazon companies? Like, Amazon has 4 subsidiaries in the top 30.
There you go.
You wonder why.
Told you so.
He won't let his warehouse workers there unionize, right? He's denying them representation. Amazon is number 1. Amazon's number 1. Amazon is number 17. Amazon is number 28. And Amazon is also number 30. Jeff Bezos is gross. And they are traitors to this country. We finally found something we can agree with MAGA on. And the more time, because like, this is how I make this show. I'm always on X, and I am so sympathetic to this cause. Like, if there was anything, this is what we need to be doing. At least part of MAGA is realizing that they're being robbed, right? And that Trump has let the enemy into the White House and is growing the swamp. And this is what we can all agree on. For once, they can see.
Do you think MAGA realizes that? Or do you think more as they would deem themselves, non-MAGA Republicans realize it? Because I'm not sure, because I've seen MAGA already trying to spin it.
Well, yeah, that's a good question. And we went through this yesterday. No, there are diehard OG MAGA people who do realize it. I agree with you, though. There's a large cross section that when Trump started saying, oh, it's okay, they're like, oh, it's okay. And the cognitive dissonance clouded back over. Yeah, that is happening. But there's a large, and Bernie Sanders is putting on a masterclass. Like, what Bernie Sanders is doing is beautiful, and I'll get to it. Like what I'll show you in a second. But again, I would suggest everyone read these letters. Like what he is doing is calling out specific H-1B abuses, and it's beautiful, right? And he's not just pointing out, like Elon Musk is trying to say, oh, these are just the smartest of the smartest engineers and Americans are dumb. And he's like, no, they've got people who are like nannies on H-1B visas. I want to find this. I want to find some of this stuff. Hold on.
Well, you're looking that up. So I'm very fortunate to have Bernie Sanders be my senator, and I've worked on 2 of Bernie Sanders campaigns when I was a lot younger, and I've written probably 30 letters over the years, emails to his office, and every single time I've gotten a response back. So I'm fortunate. So people do not use constituency services enough for their elected officials. I would always encourage everybody, first of all, find out who your elected officials are. Many people don't. And reach out to their office if you have questions. Ask them what they're voting for and why. It works.
He said, if there is really a shortage of skilled tech workers in America, why did Tesla lay off 7,500 American workers this year, including many software developers and engineers at its factory in Austin, Texas, while being approved to employ thousands of H-1B guest workers? Moreover, this is my favorite part, and I love a transition. Moreover, why has Tesla employed H-1B guest workers as associates accountants for as little as $58,000? When you saw Ernst & Young and Deloitte in that list, that's what they're doing. Those are those are huge accounting firms that do huge external audits, employing foreign workers and paying them a pittance to be accountants. Associate mechanical engineers for as little as $70,000 a year. No American mechanical engineers work for $70,000 a year. And associate material planners for as little as $80,000 a year. Those don't sound like highly specialized jobs that are for the top 0.1%, as Musk claimed this week. If this program is really supposed to be about importing workers with highly advanced degrees in science and technology, why are H-1B guest workers being employed as dog trainers, massage therapists, cooks, and English teachers? Can we really not find English teachers in America?
And remember what Elon said. Anyone of any race, creed, or nationality who came to America and worked like hell to contribute to this country will forever have my respect. America is the land of freedom and opportunity. Fight with every fiber of your being to keep it that way. To which Donald Trump retweeted that. So yeah, they don't care about you, MAGA.
Dale just had the nerve to say, who's David, if you don't know, but his real name's Dale, the Orange D. He said, who opened the border? You have to realize this has nothing to do with that, right? You got that, right, Dale? This is legal immigration that is replacing American workers through a visa program. You do understand that, right, Dale? That you're lying about the border being open as usual.
Dale doesn't
that has nothing to do with the conversation we're talking about. Wake up.
Yeah.
He would do anything to defend Donald Trump. Donald Trump is robbing you and you're still in the comments carrying water for him. What do you mean? Correct. This shouldn't bother me? Of course it bothers me. I would prefer Americans be paid American wages to do American jobs. I prefer that.
Same.
What do you think commies are about? Wake up, Dale. You don't understand anything.
America first, Dale. Be real. America first.
Dale still thinks the border's open. We can't help you, Dale. You're not even living in reality. Let's be clear, to the extent that there may be labor shortages in our country in some highly specialized areas that need to be filled by employees from abroad through the H-1B program, we must utilize this program as a very short-term and temporary approach. In the long term, if the United States is going to be able to compete in the global economy, we must make sure that we have the best educated workforce in the world. And that's the point. Like, that's what this is where I think MAGA and, no offense, but people that think diverge, right? You have to stop with the defund education. If you want these jobs, we have to fund education.
We need to overfund education.
Exactly. You have to stay in school, right?
That's right.
And literally, we need to subsidize education. That is what needs to happen.
And this is what happens when you don't understand immigration policy and you don't understand policy in general, and you find out what Felice has been telling all of us, and we've all been talking about forever, about how corporations are ripping us off and they will look for any way to do it. Now you want to figure out a way to blame somebody, and you don't want to blame the billionaires because those are the people that you voted to put in office. So who are you going to blame other than yourself?
Borders open.
America. States rats, brother.
We're not even talking about anything that has to do with undocumented immigration, but please note what Dale and by the way, it's David who's still talking in the comments, still saying non sequitur. That's Latin for it does not follow. That should be on your tombstone, Dale. He's still that's exactly what Trump did to try to distract, right? Two American citizens, American veterans, committed acts of domestic teasm. Well, in my opinion, one was just a suicide attempt, but that happened. And what did Trump say? The border's open.
Yep.
And
exactly.
We're talking about corporations stealing jobs from Americans that the far left and the far right agrees with is wrong. Americans should be hired first and foremost to do American jobs, and they should be paid what? American wages. And I also think, and I want to be clear, and the way to make sure that happens are when people come on work visas, they should not be indentured servants, right? They should be able to switch jobs if they don't like their job. They should not be tied to one fiefdom where if they don't work 100 hours a week, they have to leave. They should be paid a comparable salary, right? Because if H-1B visa workers are paid similar wages to American workers, they won't want to hire them anymore. They will just hire Americans. Oh, Dale, you are not smart. I can't even read your comments. Anyways, so Bernie Sanders' tweet was talking about this on X yesterday. And not just Nick Fuentes, but millions of people in MAGA were basically like, Bernie Sanders is right. Elon and Trump are wrong. This is bullshit. And it was so beautiful. I had such a great day reading MAGA's comments. And I love this meme by some MAGA person. It's Bernie with the steel chair.
It's true. So Felice is like Bernie, the commie socialist that the right has been calling him forever. He has become the glue to connect the far left and the far right. And
they love it. And they love him.
He's been saying that forever. Yeah.
The same people that became MAGA were burners. Do you know what I'm saying?
In some cases,
they were. There's
anti-establishment side.
I find that most MAGA, especially the ones with brains, the few with brains, they will all say, "Oh yeah, I liked Bernie Sanders," or at least they'll say, "Let me rephrase that." What they will say is, "You guys effed over Bernie Sanders." You know what I mean? They'll say he should have been your candidate in 2016. I would have voted for him.
Yeah, they see Bernie as anti-establishment. They don't necessarily agree with all of his beliefs, but they see him as anti-establishment because he pokes a hole in the system as much as they'd like to have their people. But Bernie's a lot smarter and more compassionate than their people.
Absolutely. This is Stu Peters. And again, I don't one of the grossest of all gross maggots. This is one of the people that Elon Musk just demonetized and, blocked for a while. But Elon's for free speech. He kicked him off X. And he's like, Bernie Sanders is a commie, but even he is more America first than Elon Musk. And it's not even close. And it's not. And that's the hard lesson that MAGA's going to have to learn, that you voted for a rich guy who's going to help the rich get richer, and you're not going to get anything.
Nope. You're not going to get picked for the prom.
No, of course not. I just love some of these. Bernie Sanders being more America first than Elon and Trump on this issue was not on my 2025 bingo card. He's 100% correct. And there were millions of these comments on X. Oh, yeah, we will lose for sure. We will lose wealth faster than we've ever lost it because MAGA can't read.
Correct.
No offense. And then, so this is when I say Bernie Sanders probably has the most effective strategy at this point that I have seen to deal with Trump, right? What Bernie Sanders is doing, because Trump will always, when Trump was trying to get elected, Trump does what Trump always does, pathologically lie, right? Trump's never going to cap interest rates. Trump's of credit cards, right? But he said he was. He said so he
Dale,
was. Oh, go ahead.
Thank you, Cookie. She reminds me about how Dale's been railing on Bernie, saying, when Bernie's a millionaire, Bernie wrote multiple books. Dale, you simp for billionaires daily. So your hypocrisy, you might as well just stick it in your back pocket, my guy.
Dale, do you want to come up here and explain what you're talking about? I'm willing to tolerate you.
I'll be quiet. Won't say a word.
No, I mean, if you want to say something rather than just typing incoherent things in the comments, you're welcome to request. I'm in a good mood today. But anyways, this is the strategy that I think is working and what we're going to see more of from the left, which is using Trump's own words against him, right? Trump made endless promises to working class Americans during the election that he has no intention of following through on. So again, this is just one of the times Trump said it.
Going to put a temporary cap on interest rates on credit card debt at 10%. Some people are paying 25 and 30%. It's crazy. In theory, that's against the law.
It's just one of the times he said he would cap interest rates at 10%. He said it over and over and over on the campaign trail. And I found this great. Yeah, it is a great idea. It was Bernie Sanders' idea first. Bernie Sanders said to cap it at 15. And that's why Trump was like, no, 10, because Trump just says words. Trump's never actually going to do that. And I also was reminded of this clip when Mark Cuban was calling him out for it.
Recent Harris campaign call, you compared policy proposals made by Trump to those from independent Senator Bernie Sanders, who's a socialist. What do you mean?
Not a socialist.
Oh, it was a race for socialism, right? Bernie said that credit card companies should cap their interest rates at 15%. Donald Trump, being the socialist that he is, had to beat Bernie. So Donald Trump went out and recommended that interest rate caps be set to 10%. The fact that he's even suggesting price controls and price caps is socialism 101. You haven't heard that from the vice president. You have heard that from Donald Trump.
Well, then how do you interpret? How do you interpret what she's doing in terms of price gouging, taking on price gouging by food companies? Because a lot of critics have said that is a form of price controls.
I'm glad you asked me that, Jake, because taking on price gouging is not price controls. She's not saying what the price of tomatoes should be. What she's saying is when there's a crisis, and there will be other crises, there'll be hurricanes, there'll be tornadoes, there'll be floods, there'll be other disasters. And when those disasters happen, she wants to be in a position to be able to say, no, you can't jack up those prices by 40%. You have to stay within a particular realm, a particular guideline. And by the way, there are already 37 states that have similar guidelines. All she's doing is saying we're just going to make that a national law. So that's certainly not price caps or price controls at all. Donald Trump, on the other hand, is the king of price caps.
I think this is more Mark Cuban trolling Trump, right? You have to understand that. Yeah, he's more just trying to annoy Trump by calling him a socialist, which again,
is how we've always been trying to find what would be that thing that would potentially unite people. We thought maybe it was the billionaire class, right? Going after billionaires. it's things like this, right? The little sort of nuanced things about price gouging. How could anyone be opposed to corporations ripping us off? I mean, literally. And to this day, people see David DeLulu in the chat will still simp for the billionaires, thinking that it's okay for them to rip me off. Literally, he'll look in the mirror and say, I love Trump so much, I'm happy to be ripped off by billionaires.
Yeah,
It's
nothing
crazy.
I say follows any line of logic. It's just whatever Trump wants, I will simp for blindly while I am robbed. I could not agree more. And what you have to understand about corporations is when they take away competition in the market. I always use, because MAGA, you love to complain about eggs, right? That's why right now there are literally 4 to 5 regional grocery store options any of us have. There's Amazon, there's Walmart, there's the Albertsons chains, which you might not even know, and there's Kroger, right? They own hundreds of brands. It doesn't have to be called Albertsons or Kroger. And then there's some other regional places that still exist, like Publix, things of that nature. But we have no options. There used to be thousands and thousands of mom and pop grocery stores, but because of Republican deregulation, right? Those are gone. They've all been absorbed. And that's how price fixing starts, right? When there's only 5 options in a region or in a state for us all to shop at. And then those billionaires that own those options get together and say, hey, let's keep prices. Let's all agree to keep prices at a certain rate, to keep them artificially high. This is just one example of ways we're being robbed by billionaires.
If you would like to break some news, check your text.
Oh, well, you can break it. I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's been a sentencing date set in the New York hush money trial. The judge has ordered President-elect Donald Trump to be sentenced on January 10th in his New York hush money case.
Oh my God. Oh my. Did you hear that, Dale? Sorry, Dale's really upset about Trump being a felon. Actually, Dale said he would never vote for a felon, and then he went back on that and voted for him anyways because he's a complete liar. Oh my God, what great news. Trump, they should.
A week from today, next Friday.
Yeah, right, Dale, whatever. Dale voted for a felon despite saying he never would. That's what I remember. So again, this is what Bernie Sanders is doing. Trump made all of these promises he has no intention to keep. So Bernie Sanders is saying on the campaign trail, Donald Trump stood up and said he would cap credit card interest rates at 10%. I can't tell you how many MAGA people I have talked to in debates who named this as a reason they voted for Donald Trump. You know what? That's a good idea. I'm going to introduce legislation to do exactly that. Bernie Sanders has a bill all drawn up.
Things that Trump said, some things that Elon Musk said, some things that Robert Kennedy said that make sense. But overall, I think it's very clear. You know, Trump is appointing his billionaire friends to the important positions in the cabinet, and his job is to represent the billionaire class, with some exceptions. He's going to have to walk a bit of a tightrope because he's made promises to working class people. And I think what my job, and people in Congress who share my views, not too many, is to say, okay, Mr. Trump, you talked about a 10% cap on interest rates for credit cards. That's a great idea. Well, you know what, John? I'm going to introduce that legislation. Let's see how far it goes. For years now, I have understood, as most Americans have, that the defense budget is bloated, that many of the major defense contractors engage in fraud and waste, massive cost overruns. All right, I have legislation in to cut military spending by 10%. Recently, you may have noticed Elon Musk came out and said, you know what? We should be cutting military spending. How many Republicans will go along?
He's being modest. What happened was what happened was Bernie Sanders was trolling basically Elon Musk because they're like, oh, I'm Doge, I'm going to cut. And Bernie Sanders was like, just responded to Elon Musk, and he's like, well, the real waste is in military spending, because it is. Elon Musk has no intention to cut military contracts. Imagine that. If Elon Musk wanted to do his job prior to that whole fight about funding the government right before Christmas, 2 weeks before that, the largest bill that's funded yearly was funded, the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act. That's where we fund the military. Did you hear a word out of Donald Trump, out of Elon Musk, out of Vivek Ramaswamy? No, these people all own shares in defense contracts. They are in military corporations. They all benefit. They all get government military contracts. Of course, they don't want to cut waste from the military. But Bernie Sanders is smart enough to point out to MAGA, God, think how much waste there is in the military. And he got such a response from MAGA. They were like, yeah, that Elon Musk was like, oh yeah, we should look into that. And this is what we have to do. We have to take what they say they're going to do, even if they have no intention of doing it, and hold them to it.
So when they say good things and appropriate things, I think we should work with them.
Puzzle piece. Hold on. Got it. The live will not shut down. So again, I think Bernie's doing an amazing job, and I think we should. This is one of the scariest accounts on X, right? I was playing you guys a clip from it yesterday, and literally they're like, Senator Bernie Sanders says he will work with Trump to cap credit card interest rates at 10%, condemning big banks for usury with rates up to 30%. Like, this account says some scary things. This is an account that, one of the accounts that totally backs Nick Fuentes, and they love Bernie Sanders now.
Yep.
I love what he's doing.
Bernie's been going after corporations in the banking industry and corruption for 40 years. This is nothing new, and I'm so glad. He's one of the reasons where I vacillate on term limits. Because he's just running roughshod over so many people. He knows how to legislate. He knows what buttons to push. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know. If anyone got anything out of Biden, it was him. That's what you don't know. All of the pharmaceutical stuff that Biden did, that was for Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders plays the game in Congress better than anyone. Whoever is in power, he finds a way to get whatever he can for the American people every time. I love Bernie Sanders. I could cry talking how much I love Bernie Sanders. Term limits for everyone but Bernie. Because Bernie would probably leave what he needed to leave.
He would.
And if you guys want to read, this is a Midas Touch article written by Aaron Parnas. I know a lot of us like him. If you want to read more on Bernie's legislation to cap credit card interest rates, Aaron Parnas wrote an article on it, and I just thought this is the front of page. Bernie is America's grandpa. I agree. Could not agree more. Oh my gosh. So yesterday, again on X, because this is what I got to keep an eye on these people. So, and I might get the name wrong. So correct me if I get it wrong. Yesterday, Biden gave Liz Cheney and Bernie Thompson the Citizens Medal of Freedom. Is that
correct? Yeah, it's like one step below down from the highest civilian honor. And I think the way in which she presented it was, you stood up for democracy, especially with Liz Cheney. It was a really cool moment. She was trying to push off, like, don't make this about me. But Biden's like, no, this is going to be about you. You put the country ahead of party. It was cool. It's a cool moment.
Thank you so much for subscribing, Whimsical by Shelley. It is much appreciated. Please do subscribe. So this is just a clip of Liz Cheney getting her medal, and then I'll show you MAGA freaking out. They are really upset about this.
They are indeed.
Elizabeth L. Cheney for putting the American people over party.
He pulls her back. She tries to get away, and he pulls her back in. it. She's like, uh-oh. He's like, you're not leaving.
Dale, is this
great.
killing you? You're in the comments. I noticed you didn't request. I said that you could come up here and whine publicly for everyone to hear, but you're still down there in the comments saying annoying things. That's a choice from you. You've made a choice
and Dale,
to be a
just as
coward.
reminder, in case you hadn't heard, Dale, Trump's going to be sentenced 1 week from today in New York. Just in case you hadn't heard that breaking news. We're here for you, pal. We're here for you.
And I am a little disappointed, Dale, because if you truly were America first and you cared, you would care that Trump is going to give more H-1B visas and not cap the waste, fraud, and abuse in the H-1B visa program. If I ever thought there was a chance that you weren't just a Trump simp, now I know the truth. You are just some guy that will agree with billionaires no matter what they say. That's really what I'm noticing is there are some people in MAGA, like, I don't like Laura Loomer, but at least she stands for something. At least she will say, hey, I don't support a bunch of billionaires stealing from all of us.
Yeah.
Okay, so she got this medal, and then on Hannity, they were losing their minds about Liz Cheney and Bernie Thompson. Like, they were literally crying. They had a cry fest for 20 minutes.
And America will be safer.
Self-made. Hold on, I'm sorry.
Congressman Donald,
self-made. Why should Marshawn have waited? You said Marshawn ought to have waited until after the term. Why? Should we show preferential treatment to people in power? I thought you were the party of the rule of law. Apparently not. Sorry, police.
I'm just going to then, Dale's asking, again, Dale, I would prefer you request so I can embarrass you publicly, but since it seems like you're terrified, I will answer your dumb question. You asked me if I was anti-immigrant. Absolutely not. I just want immigrants that come to the U.S. to be paid fair American wages.
Agreed.
That way it doesn't devalue American workers. Do you understand? Do you get it, Dale? Are you thinking? You guys think by deporting brown and black people that somehow is going to give you guys a shot. No, what we need to do is regulate immigration so the bottom of our economy is paid the same as American workers. That way we're all valued the same, right? We need to incentivize companies to pay workers fair wages. So there's no incentive to import. So there's no incentive to import slave labor, right? Cheap or next to slave labor. That's what H-1B visas are right now. They're indentured servants who can't leave their jobs and can be paid significantly less. We need to change that. They should be making the same as American workers. So then it truly, if you guys love capitalism, you want a meritocracy. A meritocracy, let's make it one.
I don't know how you feel about it. I was offended that President Biden gave one of the second highest medal of honor. It's not called the Medal of Honor, but a medal honoring these two congressmen, Congressman Liz Cheney and Benny Thompson. What's your reaction to that?
My reaction is I'm highly offended, but I'm not surprised. Joe Biden and his White House have lived in the bizarro land where no other Americans really exist. That's why the presidency under Joe Biden has been an abject disaster. This is just one of the last pieces of icing on that cake. Look, everybody knows that the fake January 6th committee, the only purpose was to basically put a lot of propaganda out into the information stream to go after and attack Donald Trump. It failed, completely backfired. They suppressed information. They tampered with evidence. There's reports out there.
Byron, did you get that cabinet position yet? Remember when you thought you were going to be VP? This man's still carrying water for billionaires. How embarrassing. Still lying, thinking he's getting that cabinet position. Any day now, Byron. It's coming.
You guys, Felice is in a subway. Sorry, Felice is in a subwave, y'all. 3 more to complete the subwave. Please get that done. Thank you.
I don't even know what that means. Thank you. Thank you. I think it's CJ. Thank you so much for subscribing. I saw that. But can you imagine being Byron Donalds and just thinking, if I just keep loudly telling lies, I'm sure they'll notice me. Did they ever notice Tim Scott, Byron? Or do they just need your vote? Yeah, exactly. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride, Byron. Just keep loudly lying. Ask Tim Scott. If Tim Scott got married to a whole woman, he barely knows. Because he thought he was going to be the VP. It's still not working for Tim Scott.
That they were actually tampering
Reset your gifting goal, please.
Okay.
Is sitting in front of that committee, something that has frankly never happened in the halls of Congress, happened with this J6 committee. So for them to be rewarded for, frankly, the lack of transparency and honesty they gave to the American people is disgusting. But why are we surprised? This is the presidency of Joe Biden, the very worst presidency in the history of our country.
I can't. Sorry, I don't know. I think that might have been that video. I don't know where that sound came. What is that?
Sorry, I had something blew up.
That
in my
was
ear.
you. Okay.
Yeah, that was me. Sorry about that.
I thought that was me. And I was like, I'm sorry. I don't know how to stop that sound.
Sorry
I
about
thought
that.
it was like a ship coming into harbor. I was like, if that is me, I can't stop it. So
that was Byron Donald's plea for help, his cry for help, signaling help.
No, and then listen to the lies. And like, look at these people they have. They have the guy that was using literally Russian spies to try to impeach Joe Biden. Lie after lie. We got Pill Mill Ronnie Jackson and Byron. I thought I was going to be VP. Maybe if I keep telling lies, my cabinet position is coming down the pipeline. Donald.
Yes, Cookie. I realize it was tech. Inside joke in our team.
I know. You're not good at it.
No, I'm not.
Well, it's a slap in the face to all the good Americans who actually deserve to be recognized for their public service or for their sacrifice or for their community activism. You think about all the first responders that risk their lives every day.
You mean like the Capitol Police that Biden gave awards to? You mean like the Capitol Police that you guys dishonor and lie about every day? Those people? Yeah, don't worry. We cover those people.
Military, frontline soldiers who risk their lives every day. All the people that run charitable organizations and do good things at church. And none of them got recognized by Joe Biden, but he recognized Liz Cheney and Benny Thompson. And I want to remind everyone, touching on what Byron Donald said.
Yeah, for being honest. Sadly, we have to reward honesty to encourage it. Damn. You guys have no this is literally them last night. This is what I'm saying. And today, that's all you're going to hear are the constant lies. Thank you. Of Fox News. The never-ending lies on Fox News.
In the history of Congress is appointed by the Speaker and Minority Leader. The majority party appoints their members. The minority party appoints their members. Kevin McCarthy appointed good members to that committee, but
no, people who were caught up in the investigation. He tried to appoint. Wasn't it Scott Perry? The guy that refused to turn his cell phone over to the FBI. People that needed that denied subpoenas and refused to be investigated. But nice try, Jim. Nice try again, James Comer. Sorry, I would. Jim Jordan and him are the same person to me.
Nancy Pelosi rejected them because she knew they would be truthful and they wouldn't go along with the false narrative that the media and the Democrats were trying to create about Donald Trump. So she kicked Jim Jordan and Jim Banks off and put Liz.
Oh, again, just because little Jimmy Comer seems to have trouble remembering, every single person interviewed under oath by the J6 committee was in fact a Republican, right? Every witness against Donald Trump in any of these cases were Republicans. It had nothing to do with Democrats. It was Republicans who Donald Trump hired to work for him under oath, reporting the crimes that Donald Trump committed.
People who voted for Donald Trump appeared as witnesses before that committee.
But somehow it's the Democrats' fault.
Cheney
Of course.
and Adam Kinzinger on there who would just go along with all the fake propaganda that the Democrat National Committee and their friends in the left-wing media were spouting out.
Oof.
Yeah, they're just so sad. They're so upset. Oh, and I've got to talk about this briefly. We don't have to listen to all of it, but I was mentioning this yesterday. Do you know the FBI yesterday, and I didn't know they were going to release this after my live, but they released new information. You know how we all think Margarine was the person that dropped off those what's in the backpack outside?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a joke. We say that person walked like margarine and it might be margarine, but it's a joke. It's like the 5-year anniversary or something coming up of that or whatever. And so they released new information and new video of it yesterday. We don't need to watch that. I want to show you guys this. So again, we have to rule out margarine. That's what I'm here to tell you guys. The bad news is it can't be margarine because they finally admitted that they know that the person is 5 feet 7 inches tall. Yeah, this is new. They've never said this. They're trying to catch this person again. This information, they released more video of the person, which I'll show you. That's what I just passed over, but I have a better video of it. They released new video.
How tall is Marjorie?
She's like 5'3" or 5'2". She's super small. That's why it's funny that she's so angry. She's like a little. Yeah, she's super small. This person is, God, David, you're still here. Why do you do this to yourself? It's so embarrassing. So they're 5'7". This is the interesting thing. And I don't know how much of the video we'll listen to, but these shoes right here, this is the shoes they were wearing. Only 25,000 of these shoes were sold. These are like a special type of Nike shoe. Only 25,000 were sold in, I think, a 3 or 4 year period. So I think that's why they're showing them and trying to tell us about them. But here, I actually took a...
How tall is Rudy? I'm just curious.
No, I know. Listen, there's a person there. There's a lot of information about who it might be. And there are independent security agencies who have researched this. And there is someone that a lot of people think it is who's close to Alex Jones, who fits all of the criteria, is in the military. I'm not going to say it because I don't feel like being sued, but I actually think I said it yesterday. Again, I didn't make it up. There's just someone that everyone thinks probably is this person.
On January 5th, 2021, between 7:30 and 8:30 p.m., an unidentified individual placed pipe bombs near the offices of the Democratic National Committee and the Republican National Committee in Washington, D.C. As we mark the 4-year anniversary of the night the pipe bombs were placed on Capitol Hill, the FBI and our partners are renewing our call for tips from the public to help us identify the suspect. We are releasing additional details about the suspect, as well as previously unreleased video of the suspect placing the bomb at the Democratic National Committee. A reward of up to $500,000 is available for information that leads to the arrest and conviction of the individual responsible for this attempted attack. If you have any information, please call the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI. You can also submit tips online at tips.fbi.gov. One previously unreleased detail is the FBI's estimate of the suspect's height to be approximately 5 foot 7 inches tall. The suspect wore a face mask, a gray hooded sweatshirt, and black gloves. They used a backpack to transport each of the devices. They were wearing distinctive Nike Air Max Speed Turf shoes, which are black and gray with the yellow Nike logo. Fewer than 25,000 of these shoes were sold between August 2018 and January 2021. The first time the suspect is seen is at approximately 7:34 p.m. at the intersection of 1st Street and North Carolina Avenue Southeast. The person walks southwest on North Carolina Avenue, turns north on New Jersey Avenue, west on D Street.
goes through like the whole like map of where they went, how long they stopped places. I mean, it's clearly, it's rumored to be someone in the military or someone with military background. Like this is all very interesting. This is in today's outline. That is if you want to join the Discord, all of these links are in today's outline. Or you can look this up. It's just on the FBI. They released it yesterday. It's on I'm sure they have it on Blue Sky too. It's on YouTube, it's on the FBI site, but yeah, it just goes through the actual path they took street by street, how it has extra video that they never released of them. Like he sits on a bench or they sit on a bench. It's Margarine. We don't know. It can't be. She's too short. I'm sorry to break it, everyone. Our conspiracy theory has finally been debunked.
Where was Nancy Mace that night?
She's short too. She's not 5'7". There a lot of you guys. The thing about Congress is a lot of, and I'm talking about men and women. They're short. 5'7" is like tall for these people. It's true. Thank you for subscribing, Penelope. Dale said it's Trump. Yeah, no, yeah. Trump actually. I've seen Trump in real life in New York. He's 6 feet.
Yep.
He's not any 6'2", but he's 6 feet tall. I heard him once say he was 6'3". Oh my god! So again, let's move on. I've been talking about this. We can move on from the FBI thing. The links to those videos, you can find them easily online, or they're in today's outline. I'm sorry, it's not Margaret. I just had to let you guys know that. Now we have to move on to more BS and lies that are never ending. I just can't take any more of the misinformation. I don't know. We don't need to listen to this. This is just 16 seconds. This is just, again, the FBI confirming. I just want to hear it out loud. Dale, do you have your listening ears open? Because I just want you to hear this.
We do not assess at this point that anyone else involved in this attack is involved in this attack except for Shamsa Din Jabbar, the subject you've already been briefed on.
I'm sorry. I'm going to just keep replaying clips of people clearing up lies that I can't stand listening to anymore. Did you hear that, Dale? No, not Dale. Only one man. Despite what Fox News has told you, there's only one man involved in that.
An hour from my Homeland Security team. The number of people killed in New Orleans has risen to 15, including the attacker. 35 people were injured. Today, the FBI briefed me that as of now, we have no information that anyone else is involved in the attack. They've established that the attacker was the same person who planted the explosives in those ice coolers in 2 nearby locations in the French Quarter just a few hours before he rammed into the crowd with his vehicle. They assess he had a remote detonator in his vehicle to set off those 2 ice chests.
Did you hear that? There are not other people that were going to detonate the ice chests. Did you get that, Dale?
So there's no question that, remember all the talk about other people were involved, they have him, they have established he's there, and even established that he had a detonator to explode those ice chests. As I said yesterday, the attacker posted several videos just several hours before the attack, indicating his strong support for ISIS. Federal law enforcement and the intelligence community are actively investigating any foreign or domestic contacts and connections that could possibly be relevant to the attack.
The real Dale in the chat, I'm talking to the guy with the orange D. His real name's Dale, but it says David. Sorry if that's confusing. I'm not yelling at you. I'm just clearing up. I'm just playing clips before I show a bunch of misinformation that is being spread by Republicans and Fox News. I'm just clearing up some things.
And so we're also continuing to investigate whether or not there's any connection between the New Orleans attack and the explosion in Las Vegas. As of now, they've just been briefed. They have not found any evidence of such a connection thus far. I've directed them to keep looking.
Oh, because they both briefly spent time at one of the largest military bases in the United States that most people go through for basic training. That doesn't mean that they knew each other and they both planned attacks.
That's right.
I can't. I'm sorry. I've been dealing with people. I can't stand the lies.
The individual who rented the truck that exploded in Las Vegas also served as active duty U.S. Army. And the FBI is working with the Department of Defense on investigating, including the service members' possible motives and all those he worked with, who served with him, with things he'd say and do. I directed my team to accelerate these investigations.
Okay, so again, I mean, just clearing some lies up, and now we can get to the real important parts, right? Which is, this man's a Republican.
Can I read you something really quick? This
definitely.
This happened during our show. This is Trump posted this on Truth Social. This is about the flags being floated half-mast. The Democrats are all giddy about our magnificent American flag potentially being at half-mast during my inauguration. They think it's so great and are so happy about it because in actuality, they don't love our country. They only think about themselves. Look at what they've done to our once great America over the past 4 years. It's a total mess. In any event, because of the death of President Jimmy Carter, the flag may, for the first time ever during inauguration of a future president, be at half-mast. Nobody wants to see this, and no American can be happy about it. Let's see how it plays out. Make America great again.
What kind of delusional narcissist? This is the guy you guys elected. Congratulate you guys. How embarrassing. What the are you guys happy about this? This is your guy. He's that much of a narcissist. He is so mad that a former president had the nerve to unalive.
Right, and protocol requires the flag to be flown at half-mast no matter when he passes away.
Yeah, and so when Trump is being inaugurated, Trump loves a parade. Trump loves a party. Trump's been having a consistent party at Mar-a-Lago since, literally he doesn't even work. He's just having a party. This is what he was just reading. This is real life, people. He just posted this. Unfortunately, Fax was not making that up. He's very upset because at his party for becoming president, Jimmy Carter had the nerve to accidentally unalive at 100 years old, and now the flags will be at half-mast. No, I'm not personally giddy. A former president has accidentally unalived at an inconvenient time for our new narcissistic president.
It's Jimmy Carter with one more big middle finger from the grave.
Yeah, if Trump could raise the flags, he would have them raised. 100%. Who said that? Felix, I think. Yeah, if Trump could have the flags raised, he would have them raised. He'd be like, totally. F Jimmy Carter, raise the flag. 100%. If there was any way for him to he's probably looking for ways around it right now. How dare he? Think how petty you have to be to post that. He's that.
Crazy.
I guess it is more crazy than petty.
It's both.
He's like, I bet Jimmy Carter did this on purpose to me.
Exactly.
But we do need to just go through. I just want to be clear. Did you guys know that both of the what were they? American citizens who who engaged in what was it? Was it foreign acts of teaism or was it domestic? Yeah, it was two veterans who God knows what was going on with their mental health, who both voted for Trump, by the way. Did you know that? They both voted for Donald Trump, especially this guy. I love how I have not heard anybody on right-wing media admit to that. I keep hearing them say all of these weird things, but I never hear them saying that this guy's whole family is I don't know why they're so avid about explaining that he loved Trump, but they are actively yelling to anyone who will listen. This is a Daily Beast article. Sources say, his family is literally out here just being yeah, he loved Trump. The man suspected of being behind Tesla's Cybertruck explosion in Las Vegas was a big supporter of Donald Trump and voted for him in November, a senior law enforcement official tells the Daily Beast. Interesting. And his whole family is doing interviews saying this. Like, he loved Trump and he was always a very patriotic soldier, a patriotic American, Dean said. It's one of the reasons he was in special forces for so many years. It's so weird that somebody that voted for your guy would do something like that.
Somebody radicalized that voted for Trump. Who knew?
Yeah, and this was John Miller. Like, I'll say, after doing a lot of research into the Leibelsberg, this guy, I think that if he had wanted to do more damage, he definitely could have. I think this was more like symbolic, and I don't know why. It seems more of like an unaliving himself type situation in a dramatic way than, trying to unalive others. Because a lot of people were saying, like, they had and I have clips we can look at the clips, but they had ATF officers, former military officers, a lot of people who knew him saying, like, if he had wanted to do damage, he was smart enough, he had the training, he could have done it.
Absolutely.
That's like, here's one of the quotes. His uncle told The Independent that Leibelsberger was a super soldier. If he were to create an exploding Cybertruck, Dean said he believed his nephew had the skills to create one that was more sophisticated. The ATF said the same thing. They kind of were basically like, this is not like based on his training. This is not a guy that was trying to do damage, sort of thing. And I mean, that's just based on what I've read, and I kind of agree. He seems to have the pedigree to have done much more than he did. But this is interesting. And he was a big Trump supporter, right? Like, look, this is him. Bolton, he's mad at John Bolton. Do you guys remember, just to be clear, John Bolton is a Republican who, like, worked for George W. Bush. And George W. Bush, like, fired him and was like, this guy is nuts. I can't work with him. And then John Bolton worked with Trump and was like, Trump is nuts. I can't work with him.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, that just to give you an idea of like the levels. And this is the guy. Bolton got a hefty chunk. He thought John Bolton was being paid by the DNC and other slimy donors to put his book out because he wrote a book about his time working with Trump. Matthews Leibelsberger, oh boy, another conspiracy theorist. What a joke. And then it's not a conspiracy when it's pretty obvious guy made money from Debs. Like, this was a guy who was a diehard conspiracy theorist, good old-fashioned Trump supporter. Just showing the facts. Oh, this is him and his girl, who it's also rumored. The only thing that the right is reporting is that she dumped him, apparently, for cheating on him. I mean, she dumped him for cheating on her. They recently just had a child together, like very recently. And I think like on Christmas or right after Christmas, she broke up with him. And Ron Filipkowski correctly pointed this out. I'm starting to get the vibe that the consensus amongst the MAGA intelligentsia yesterday that this was a coordinated T attack by ISIS through the southern border may have been off a little. On to the next. This is what the New York Post, they're not saying the truth that this guy was a avid Trump supporter, but they are. Yeah, why would they say that? They don't want to say that. But they are, however, admitting that his wife broke up with him days before the explosion outside of the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas.
Captain Kimberly, and I'm glad you said that because I was thinking the same thing. They will always find the way to blame the women. Always, no matter what.
Well, I mean, blame him. Another bag of man who is constantly cheating. Why am I not is totally okay with cheating on their wives? This is the party of family values.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what I mean? Like they always had to sprinkle in that little misogyny narrative in there.
For sure. The party of family values cares not about families, though. I just have to say that. And then this is a great article. This is an independent article. It's in today's outline. Someone asked me how to join the Discord. Feliz Navidad, the account underneath facts, that's my account. It's Feliz Navidad Live. Just click on there. That's my Feliz Navidad live account, my business account. Just send a message to that account and say, I would like a link to the Discord. I used to have the invite in my link tree, but a lot of MAGA people like Dale would join and say crazy things. It's just not safe. So again, there's a lot of interesting stuff in this article, but he was very angry about Biden forgiving student loan debt. I could tell you that. That was one thing he was very upset about. He thought the government was indoctrinating people into believing that it was okay to forgive student loan debt. Yeah, which this is true too. Like, he had already unalived himself before the truck even went up in flames outside the hotel. And you could see the 37-year-old Colorado resident was a member of the elite Green Berets and was described by family members as 100% patriot and ardent Trump supporter. Congratulations, guys. You can have him.
So, Felice, the New York judge says Trump will face no penalties in his criminal hush money case, but upholds the conviction. So, again,
amazing.
A
34-time felon. I love it. That's perfect. I can't ask Judge Juan Merchan to do anything better than what he's done. That man has faced unbelievable opposition. He has done as someone who read every single court document in that case, that was the fairest man. His whole family was ripped apart. His life was torn apart, and he is the fairest justice. They're called justices in New York.
He does have to appear. Trump does have to appear. He can either appear in person or virtually. Again, Judge Merchan, however, did uphold the conviction, rejecting the president-elect's effort to throw out the jury's verdict because of his reelection in November. But again, just in case you're just tuning in, there's a sentencing hearing for 1 week from today. The New York judge says Trump will face no penalties in his criminal hush money case, but upholds the conviction. A 34-time convicted felon to be sworn in 17 days.
Thank you for the glasses. Forever. That means Trump was trying to get that thrown out or win on appeal. He won't. He's forever he's forever labeled a felon, which I think is exactly as it should be. Correct. And this is okay. I just want to show some more hypocrisy. So Elon Musk, right? Let me see. I think I took bigger screenshots. I just want to be clear. So originally, right, people were reporting this is how people were reporting the Cybertruck. Like, they didn't know that it was a T attack or that someone was inside. They just thought a Cybertruck had exploded and was on fire outside of the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. So this is how it was reported. Tesla Cybertruck explosion in front of Trump Hotel in Las Vegas leaves 1 unalive, 7 injured. Then this is someone saying, honestly, Elon should consider suing outlets who frame the story like this. These headlines are sabotaging Tesla's brand. By making, wait till you see what I have to show you after this. It's like when people walk right into this stuff, like, I'm going to dunk on them for the win. Tesla's brand, by making people think it caught on fire. There's about 1 Tesla fire for every 130 million miles traveled. Other cars have 1 every 18 million miles. And Elon Musk responded to this post and said, maybe it is time to do so. And so Aaron Rupar is pointing out, well, then they better sue Fox. He better sue Fox News, because they report. Look at the Chiron. Tesla explodes outside of Trump Hotel in Vegas. So Aaron Rupar, is pointing out, well, make sure you sue Fox first. And I'm pointing out, hey, maybe the reason that it was being reported like this is because Cybertrucks are bursting into flames.
Truck goes up in flames. This is really incredible video when you look at this. You can see that entire back of the truck is discolored. The tires are even melted. Firefighters tell us this was on a car lot in DeKalb County, and they think the fire could have started with a battery.
This was December 31st. So maybe the reason, I'm not a genius, but a day later, someone might think that a Cybertruck battery had caused a fire in the back, is because the day prior, a Cybertruck had been set on fire by the battery in Georgia. Maybe that's why. It'd be hard to win a defamation lawsuit when.
Have you seen that image? There's an image of the Cybertruck burning outside of the Trump Hotel, and the image of, you see Trump's name and then the Cybertruck on fire. And I'm thinking to myself, I actually had that as a background today. That's the next 4 years. That picture in and of itself is the next 4 years.
Oh no! I showed that yesterday. Oh, yeah, and I showed the comments, like they were Nancy Mace, spreader of lies and misinformation. Charlie Kirk,
your bestie.
Charlie Kirk, who's one of the liars who was spreading they crossed that cyber or that truck, the one that Shamsu Din Jabbar rented had crossed, into Eagle Pass from Mexico. They're actually telling real lies, spreading real misinformation and disinformation. And all Ron Filipkowski did was post that picture and say, oh, like, this is a metaphor for 2025. And they're like, how dare you take this down?
Yeah, exactly.
Ridiculous. And okay, I love Joe Walsh. He's a former congressman, and I think he makes some good points.
Have in one day, early on New Year's Day, 2025, 2 American veterans committing acts of terror? Should we, instead of screaming illegals, all my MAGA friends, instead of screaming migrants, heck, maybe instead of screaming ISIS, should we be screaming, oh my God, American military terrorists? We've got a bunch of American veterans out there who are terrorists. How about we pounce on that? Do you want to make that overgeneralization? That's what we do when a transgender American commits a mass shooting. Everybody on the right wants to say, oh my God, transgenders are mass shooters. Should we do the same thing here? Oh my God, American veterans are terrorists based on what happened. I
just think that's
who does he look like?
I don't. Why? What do you mean? Who do you think? I want to know, because he does remind me of someone. I just don't know who.
He looks like Jeffrey Epstein.
No, I don't know about that. No.
Look at that picture. I don't know.
He doesn't look like. Oh, maybe. I guess if you guys think that. I don't. Jeffrey Epstein's better looking. That sounds weird to say, but. Okay, so anyways, I just think that's a good point, right? He's an actual never Trump. This man's actually a Republican. I just feel I should say that. He's not saying that we should demonize veterans. He's making the point that anytime there's a certain minority group involved in a crime, then all of a sudden, all of those people are criminals. And that's an excuse to throw them out of our country or to eliminate them from existence or to legislate against them. But we have had 2 American citizens who have a few things in common, right? They're active duty military, right?
You're right. I mean,
should we demonize them? No, we shouldn't, right? We should be sensitive and think, man, these people, and I showed this yesterday, that Shamsu Din Jabbar was seeking help from, a man who had a psychologist who was a former veteran who specialized in dealing with PTSD. He was following accounts looking for help from a famous veteran psychologist who helped people with PTSD. As someone with PTSD, we need to be sensitive to these things. We don't need to cut their benefits. We don't need to provide them less care. We created this problem. Anyways, and Brian Shapiro was on a roll yesterday. Oh my God.
What are you saying?
Because you're blaming it all on Republicans.
No, I'm not. I never. Hold on. No, get the MAGA wax out of your ears. That's not what I said. I'm not blaming the attacks on Republicans. I need you to listen to me. What I am is I'm blaming them for the conspiracy theories. When did I say that Donald Trump or Republicans are responsible? If anything, it's the Republicans. Hold on. If anything, it's the Republicans that are blaming it on Democrats. They're blaming the open border. They're blaming it on Joe Biden. What are you talking about? What have I said on this show? I'm not blaming the Republicans for the attacks. I'm blaming them for the conspiracy theories. Do you not understand what I'm saying?
So you're saying that Democrats don't do the exact same thing?
Can you give me an example? Okay, I'll answer your question by asking a question. Can you give me an example of a terrorist attack where immediately in the aftermath, in the next 24 hours, a majority of Democrats, including an incoming or former president, were blaming migrants or basing it on a lie for what took place? Can you give me one example of anything like what's taken place in the last 24 hours?
Let me just say that the attack in New Orleans.
So you can't give an example. So you can't. You won't answer my question.
You won't let me talk, which is what you always do. You try to paint people into a corner and not give them an opportunity.
People like you dodge the question. And you don't answer it, dummy. Why don't you answer the question?
I'm going to answer your question. Those conspiracy theories start fully Democratic city in New Orleans, run by all Democrats.
The Republican governor is more MAGA than you could ever imagine.
I might add. Okay. So the guy who ran down people on the street on Bourbon Street was wearing an ISIS flag.
Okay.
So, and then they covered it up when they released the photos. And then at the press conference, which you very, very correctly described as an S show, which it was, had the worst messaging ever possible.
All right, you haven't answered. No, I'm going to stop you. No, I'm going to stop you because you haven't answered my question. You just said Democrats quote, Democrats do the same thing. I don't need you to filibuster. Give me an example of a large terrorist attack where in the immediate aftermath there were conspiracy theories and intentional lies, because that's what Donald Trump did.
So why are we limiting it to a terrorist attack? It's everything in politics.
Give me an example.
I love him. So what you guys are asking, this is Brian Shapiro. He has an independent radio show out of Las Vegas. It's called Pushing the Limit. And he basically debates idiots. I mean, you could call them MAGA, you call them idiots, whatever you want to call them.
It's like what we do.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah, it's the same basic thing. He just does it on the radio. And yeah, he's really good at it. Hold on. And after I found this clip, I actually found got two more clips. They're not in order. Let me find them guys, we should be way past 200K. Tapping is clapping. Seriously. Could everyone please tap the screen? I would like to get to at least 400K today. It takes me hours to make these outlines. So if you would please help me out and tap the screen and please gift our guests, gift facts for being here. Yeah, this is how we earn a living and it is much appreciated to support us. Okay, I found it. Hold on. This is another good one.
For all of you right-wing turds out there that were spreading all these conspiracy theories about what took place in New Orleans and what took place in Las Vegas, let me give you guys some quick facts here, so even maybe some of you MAGA supporters might understand it. The Tesla bomber committed suicide prior to the explosives going off. He voted for Donald Trump, a Republican. He's not an immigrant, and he acted alone. The New Orleans terrorist voted Republican, not an immigrant, and acted alone. So all you right-wing conspiracy theorists out there that were blaming this on migrants, brown people, I know you won't retract what you said, because you're all deplorables. You're all despicable, including the Marjorie Taylor Greens of the world, the Don Juniors of the world, and even Donald Trump. But your narrative won't work. It's a tragedy, and all these innocent people have lost their lives. And you're the ones who try to politicize it with misinformation. You all are despicable. For all of you right-wing...
I love that guy.
He was pissed yesterday. Like, I've never seen him. I have one more. I've never seen him.
You've talked about Donald Trump's character on this show before. You've defended him at times. What would you say about a guy who not only blames a migrant incorrectly, he lied, he knew it wasn't a migrant, but won't take the tweet down even and won't apologize? What would you say about somebody's
Well, if he's not taking the tweet down, that's the problem. He's retracted a few things. I don't have it in the top of my head. I'll call in some later time. The guy's not perfect. He's definitely, if it was Eisenhower versus Trump versus...
No. If it was another bigot, I would have voted for the other bigot who's no longer with us. Like, that's your example? The guy from Operation Dry Front? That's the opposite. You can do the math. Like,
it's like you always say, Felice, we have to laugh so we don't cry.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I would have voted for another giant bigot who's no longer alive if I had a choice.
Versus Reagan, I vote for Eisenhower.
Okay, so
that's all I got to say.
Al, I never said that anybody is perfect, but you are bigoted and racist in nature. Went after not you, but I'm talking about Donald Trump. When you when your first reaction after a tragedy and innocent people losing their lives is not to say thoughts and prayers with the victims, my heart goes out to them, but to politicize it and blame it on a migrant. You have hatred in your heart.
Without a doubt. If you're going out there and blaming a specific race for something without, looking.
So let me ask you a question, Al.
You're correct. I agree with you.
Al, I appreciate your honesty. Will you call into conservative radio shows today and call out Donald Trump?
Well, I'm going to find out what he said.
I just read it.
I
just read it.
Okay, I got to go. I agree with you.
Okay,
if it does,
good.
I will do that.
Please
I promise
do that.
you. Okay,
please do that,
Thank
Al.
you very much.
I appreciate the call. Thank you.
You call into conservative radio. Something tells me Al did not, in fact, call into conservative radio shows yesterday and shit on Donald Trump. But it's nice to think about. It's nice to think that he might have if he was a reasonable person.
So just this from the court document. So while this court, as a matter of law, must not make any determination on sentencing prior to giving the parties and defendant an opportunity to be heard, it seems proper at this juncture to make known the court's inclination to not impose any sentence of incarceration, a sentence authorized, listen up, MAGA, a sentence authorized by the conviction, but one the people concede they no longer view as a practicable recommendation. As such, in balancing the aforementioned consideration in conjunction with the underlying concerns of the presidential immunity doctrine, a sentence of an unconditional discharge appears to be the most viable solution to ensure finality and allow the defendant to pursue his appellate options. Further, to assuage the defendant's concerns regarding the mental and physical demands during the transition period, as well as the considerations set forth in 2000 policy memorandum. So again, unconditional discharge is just one avenue to not impose a prison sentence, upholding the conviction. There you go.
Yeah, he's saying, hey, the Supreme Court's presidential immunity ruling does not have anything to do with this case. So sorry, I can't let him off, even though you guys keep suggesting for some reason that the Supreme Court's ruling has something to do with this. But I do think that because he's about to be the sitting president, I can't sentence him. So the conviction is going to stand, right? But he's not going to essentially have a punishment. I mean, other than that he's a convicted felon, a 34-time convicted felon.
Upholding the conviction of being a felon
is the best point.
Thank you, Judge
Merchan. I love that, Merchan, because believe me, that man was born in South America. I just want to make that clear. Like, he's not French. A man was born in South America. And Trump shat on him for that. He said the reason he was being punished by that man was because he was not from America. Meanwhile, Aileen Cannon also was not born in America, was born in South America. I just need to point those facts out. That Trump hates, if he loves an immigrant, a brown person, right, who helps him, but hates one who's fair, right? Thank you so much for subscribing, AC. And speaking, this is Tom Homan, not Humpty Dumpty, even though they bear striking resemblance, right? This is the immigration czar, the guy that's allegedly going to deport all these people. Now think about what you've been hearing Brian Shapiro yelling about. And this is Tom Homan. After they did a press conference in Las Vegas and said all these things like there's no connection to T-ism, this is just a random guy acting alone as near as we can tell. And by the way, he had the training to do damage. If he had wanted to do damage, he could do it. And then we have Tom Homan on Fox News saying this.
Go back there. You said earlier, and you just referenced again a terrorist connection there in Las Vegas. The police chief said they haven't identified that. But to your point, you said you believed as this investigation carries out in Las Vegas that I believe you just said you believe they will find a connection. Do you have any other information, or have you been privy to any other information other than what we just directly heard from the police there in Las Vegas?
No, I don't. This is a gut feeling. I've done this for 3.5 decades. I just think there's
I'm just a delusional idiot who's making this up, and you guys are platforming me because you guys are also in support of pathological lying on a daily basis and have made a sham out of the media. Like, no, this is just a gut feeling because I'm a
too many similarities, too much coincidence.
That's another pet peeve of mine. People that say similarities. It's similarities, Tom Homan. Thank you for subscribing, Anna. I appreciate it. So there's an irregardless.
So I think something down the road they're going to show there's some sort of connection, whether it's they got whether it's some same network or where they got the tools to pull these terrorist attacks off. I just feel like there's going to be something down the road, and I could be wrong. It's just a gut feeling I have.
Got it.
You are wrong.
Freaking dangerous that is. That shit drives me crazy. I'm with you. That's
just
so freaking
a gut
dangerous.
feeling. This is after the ATF was doing a press conference being like, yeah, like this guy didn't, if this guy wanted to do, it seems like he could have done more damage and didn't. You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? Listen, it goes on.
I have to jump, my friend. This has been absolutely wonderful today. Thank you so much for having me. You guys, by the way, if you guys could all do me a solid, please get Felice above 300K. It's the least you can do. You guys have no idea, if you've never seen one of Felice's outlines, the amount of work that she does for you all and for all of us. We should all be very, very grateful. I agree, Felice for Senate at least, but please get her above 300K. Thank you, my friend. It's been an honor. Later, if you want to swing by, we're doing Facts After Dark at 6 p.m. We're just going to ask a big question. What's on your mind? And there's a lot of shit going on that we have to cover, so that'll be at 6 o'clock. But thank you for having me. It's always
all right. Have a great day. See you later, Gator.
See you later. Bye.
I just want to be clear. So again, listen to Fox News trying to correct Tom Homan, and doesn't even correct, but tries to be like, yeah, that's not what they're saying, like at the press conference. But I mean, is this a correction when someone's pathologically lying and being like, I just have a gut feeling that something I know is a complete effing lie is true?
With them. So we're not out of the woods. This country is in grave danger. We need to secure that border. And despite what's happened the last 2 days in Las Vegas and in New Orleans, this administration is not stopping. They're still releasing thousands of people every week through the CBP-1 app, the CHMV program, and Border Patrol continues to release people in this country without.
So again, the CBP-1 app is a legal way to claim asylum. Very few people could legally claim asylum and actually get approved. But he's talking about legal asylum seekers.
Proper vetting. This is not a good thing, and I can't wait for the new administration to take power and secure this border and protect our national security.
Well, the police chief was asked about the incident in Las Vegas, if they had seen any motivation and inspiration from any terror group. They had not identified anything there yet, I should say, at least. They said they're very heavily still in the middle of that investigation.
See how she still goes with the lie? No, there's no connection. They've found no connections. They believe this guy acted alone. He had the military training and know-how to do damage, didn't do it. That's what they know as of now. But still, she's like, well, hey, the investigation's young. And he's just yelling about immigration. Again, we're talking about a white man. He's actually born in Arizona, right? Like, by the way. He went to high school, I believe, in Ohio. He was charging that Cybertruck all the way, like came up through the dam into Las Vegas. This is an American citizen, active duty military. It has nothing to do with immigration. I don't know why we're still talking about the border. Oh, because Republicans just spread lies. Oh, and I always talk about how amazing Decoding Fox News is. If you don't follow her, her account is Decoding Fox News. She also has an amazing podcast. She does like statistical analysis. So she went through painstakingly and tracked every time Fox News told this lie. And it was 22 times.
This person came through Eagle Pass, Texas, 2 days ago.
The vehicle potentially was traced to crossing at Eagle Pass, Texas.
Suspect drove a truck with a Texas license plate that came through Eagle Pass, Texas.
Hearing that the vehicle was traced to coming across from Mexico into the United States at Eagle Pass, Texas 2 days ago. To be sure, a license plate was picked up by a reader at a border crossing. This said it was picked up crossing at that border station at Eagle Pass, Texas 2 days ago. But as far as this Eagle Pass, Texas situation is concerned,
plate reader at Eagle Pass sees this car coming in from Mexico. So the weapon was that truck came across the border.
We do know that the vehicle has a Texas plate. It crossed through Eagle Pass, Texas, crossed the border 2 days ago.
Sources tell Fox that the suspect was driving a truck with Texas plates. That vehicle is said to have come through our border in Eagle Pass 2 days ago.
Even drove it right through Eagle Pass, Texas, but supposedly that truck came in 2 days ago.
Truck came across from Mexico into the United States.
The Texas plates crossed through Eagle Pass, crossed the border.
Now we're seeing at least some connection to our southern border.
The truck, as we now know, it's been reported, has passed over the Eagle Pass border crossing.
We know that the suspect drove a truck with a Texas license plate right into this crowd. It's unclear if this specific driver crossed through Eagle Pass, Texas, but the truck came from Eagle Pass, we're told.
The legal attaché office there in Mexico City trying to run down what happened there in Eagle Pass when the vehicle crossed the border.
This is a truck that our sources here to our reporters are telling us crossed the border through Eagle Pass, Texas.
We'll tell you that the FBI will retrace that route and go into every convenience store, every gas station along the route from Eagle Pass to New Orleans. These people, it's interesting, they came across the southern border apparently.
This is the truck that we believe came from Eagle Pass, Texas.
Some breaking news right now into our newsroom. I want to alert our viewers. Our sources now tell Fox that that truck from Eagle Pass, Texas, did not cross 2 days ago. It crossed on November 16th, and the identification of the driver that crossed the border does not appear to be the shooter.
So again, this is her account. She doesn't say her name a lot. If you want to look her up, she's on like pretty much every social account. She got a grant from Jeff Jarvis, one of my favorite journalism professors. Like she was funded by a grant. Now she's self-funded. She does statistical analysis. Like her podcast is mind-blowing. So if you have never heard of Decoding Fox News, like just to make this video must have taken out to painstakingly go through and track every time Fox News spread that lie. Yes, you love Maxwell. The fact you know who Jeff Jarvis is makes me love you. Jeff Jarvis is my god. Okay, and then we have to cover our angel, our leftist angel, Jessica Tarlov, fighting the misinformation on Fox yesterday. She is a warrior. It's hard to fight off Judge Janine's lies.
There are two stories being told about this perpetrator. One that, you know, people who took a moment to actually think about it and to get more information are telling, which is that this was a homegrown American terrorist. This is an American who was raised in Texas, who served in the United States military. And then there is another narrative that is being boosted by people who want to make a case about open borders, that this is someone who, you know, flew through Eagle Pass, drove to New Orleans and tried to kill a bunch of people. That's obviously not what happened here. But Secretary Mayorkas was on in the last hour with Sandra talking about this real threat of homegrown terrorism. And I understand that we need to obviously be careful about our border and that there are people who may have crossed over with ISIS sympathies. But at this moment, our focus is going to be this guy, the signs that were there.
Kids worse. Judge Janine was like screaming at her.
Well, we actually have a huge change in the amount of people that are getting into this country and the number of deportations. So we now have the lowest number of border crossings that we've had in 4 years. Going back
but they're flying them in. Why cross the border if you get a free flight?
It's not true. And we've removed 700,000 that they're just flying them in without,
they are.
without background checks.
Wait a minute. You think they're flying them in and they do background checks on them?
Yes.
Amount of lies Judge Janine tells. I mean, it's unreal. By the way, Judge Janine's husband got a Trump pardon. Albert, yeah, her husband is one of the Trump pay for pardons.
I do think that you got a background
From where?
check.
From Chile? From
when you
Venezuela?
look at what's
from
gone on
Haiti?
with Mexico and Central America and the amount of cooperation that's been going on right now with the
Are you telling me that Haiti, Guatemala, Venezuela are giving us background checks?
You're telling me that in the last year where we've gotten out over 700,000 people, which is the most that we have deported since the year 2010, that we have the lowest number of border crossings, that we have record seizures of drugs that are supposed to be coming across the border, that this is a wide open border.
So then why did Biden lose?
The encounters are now, as of December 2024, below where they were when Trump left office. We are now lower than what Donald Trump is doing. We have removed more people than ever before. And I'm not saying this because for me, I'm saying this for MAGA. Please understand that nothing you're saying makes any sense.
Be so great.
It was too little too late in addressing.
How does Jessica not throw hands? I don't know how she sits there. With Judge Judy screaming, watch this one.
I'm embarrassed.
That's the truth.
When people. Great. I'm glad we can agree on something. But when you say I'm embarrassed watching Joe Biden, I'm not embarrassed seeing someone stand up there and saying, let's wait for some facts here. Because Donald Trump went out there and he said,
is that what he said? I couldn't understand. No, he assured Americans
know exactly what he
well.
said. No. Listen to all of the comments that he made and the statements which said we need to make sure that we have the right facts. And the right facts were that the guy in New Orleans was an American. He wasn't an illegal
Nobody's
crossing.
saying he wasn't.
That's not true. That's not true. There have been Republicans who have been on TV today talking about how this is an open border.
I'll call them myself.
You call them. That it's an open border
Not
problem.
mutually exclusive. That's not a mutual.
We're on Fox all day. I have the recordings. What are you talking? Call your own network. They're down. You could just go walk around the office and confront people.
Exclusive problem. You can have someone who's homegrown,
but you know
radicalized,
what they're trying to do.
and
They're
you can
trying
also
to
have
conflate
terrorists.
it. They're trying to make it out to be that it is a demonization
Both things can happen at the same time.
Undocumented people. That's what it was supposed to be. That's why you talked about it going to.
And we
but these aren't undocumented people. These are Americans.
75% of the arrests in New York City are illegals. Let's stop.
None of that has to do with anything. Do you see what's happening here? This is insane. We're talking about 2 American citizens, 2 veterans, active duty military, committing crimes or acts of terror, whatever you want to say. And then the strategy of Republicans is to be like, but open borders, but brown people, but random facts that have nothing to do with what anyone's talking about. Yeah, I don't know how Jessica Tarlov goes to work every morning. I honestly have no idea how she could even do it.
They tried to convince us that the greatest threat to the homeland was racially motivated extremism when we all looked at the wide open border and thought logically that might lead to terrorist attacks in the future.
This was today. This was before the speaker vote. Mike Johnson today. Oh, no, this one was yesterday, but I have another clip of him doing it this morning. Mike Johnson was saying this stuff. She's like, who's saying that? I'll call him and confront him. Okay, make sure you call Mike Johnson.
We need a dramatic change. And this emphasizes once again why this election was so important to the country. And we cannot get President Trump here soon enough. 18 days away from his inauguration and his cabinet coming in. And we need all of these people that he's chosen who are law and order types who will get control of these agencies, including the FBI and the DOJ, to get to work immediately. It can't happen soon enough.
Oh, it can. It really, really can. Oh, yeah, here's another one.
I have that ability. We will get everyone together, rowing in the same direction, and we will deliver for the American people. We have no margin for error.
When was your last conversation?
Oh, yeah, no, this is when he was begging to be speaker earlier, right? That's what was going on. Oh, I promised you guys to show you a really, I have some disturbing clips to show you. I promised to show you guys this. So this morning on Fox News, land of misinformation, disinformation, and pathological lies that they refuse to correct. So Jim, literally, what's his name? Oh my God, why am I forgetting his name? He's on Fox and Friends in the morning. He's interviewing Jim Jordan and is like, Jim Jordan's like, yeah, I think it'll be fine because only Thomas Massie is really like a definite no. And we can have one definite no and still elect Mike Johnson as speaker. And then he's literally like, No, Bob Good just tweeted that he refuses to vote for Mike Johnson. And then Jim Jordan has to tell him live on air that Bob Good is no longer in the House because Trump primaried him.
I got bad news. Congressman Bob Good just tweeted out he will not be voting for Mike Johnson.
Yes, Brian Kilmeade. Thank you.
Well, remember, Brian, Bob Good has left, so I don't is maybe there's some other name, but Bob Good is you know.
Oh, can we check that? Yeah. Are you saying
yes. He was Bob Good lost that close primary back in that Virginia seat. John McGuire is the new member there. John will be voting for Mike Johnson for Speaker. So I think it's still just Thomas Massey who's indicated he won't support the Speaker, but I'm hopeful that everyone else will.
All right, good point. He's not there anymore, so I shouldn't have brought that up. My bad. But he put.
Good point. Usually we make up lies at Fox News, but this was just me being grossly uninformed about who is actually in Congress. My bad. For once they weren't lying, they were just ignorant of the facts. I actually appreciate this more. Normally they're just blatantly lying. Now, the next clip is super disturbing. You're going to be like, what the F is this? This is real. There's an account, which I assume it's on Blue Sky too, but again, I have to be on X to find all this crap. But it's called Right Wing Watch, right? It is an account that is following like right wing extremism, a lot of like Christian nationalism. And this is real. This is a Christian nationalist, like pastor talking about the plan now that Trump is in power and they have the House and the Senate. This is not a joke.
This is our mission for the next 2 to 4 years. Is partnering the prophetic collaboration of government and church and business together to take all the domains we can while we have the wind to our back. I'm working with Real America's Voice. I'm working with government activity now. We're working with business mobilization. The ecclesia, you're not just limited to a building on Sunday. You're in the big game now. And the Nehemiah Project is God wants to take the house, send an awakening, and expand the occupation so that we could see God's Spirit poured out in our regions and in our cities. That's C for Cyrus, H for the house, A is an awakening, O is occupy with that Nehemiah Project, and then we have the S is the Spirit of God will be poured out in regions and cities for a harvest.
Yeah, that's real. This is not, I don't know. This is real. This guy is serious. Please, let's not pour God's Spirit anywhere, at least not on me. Thank you for subscribing, Deborah. And by the way, if you want to join the Discord, you have to click on this account, the account down below. That's my account, Feliz Navidad Live. I just realized I don't have live on the end here. I'll add it. Sorry, this is a new computer and I had to set this up fast. But click on that account that is down below. That's my account, Feliz Navidad Live. Just send a message and say, get me a link to the Discord. I used to just have Discord links in my link tree, but I have a lot of MAGA men that no likey me and would try to join the Discord. So for that, we're doing it this way for now, just to keep us all safe. But yeah, this is so disturbing. This link, the link to this clip, if you want to post it. I mean, who knows what he's saying? Like, did you guys see the picture he was drawing? There's like a crown for Christ on the top. Thank you for subscribing, Maxwell. Amazing. Oh, Lauren Boebert. I have great news. Lauren Boebert said the smartest thing I've ever heard her say yesterday. Lauren Boebert was talking to Piers Morgan, and she couldn't do it because she has to support Trump, but she almost said that Elon Musk and Vivek, and the whole Doge committee were, a bad idea. She tried to say it and then couldn't say it.
To save our country. I'm excited for the Doge Commission that was created. Now, Pierce, it's a little frustrating to me at times to have this Doge commission, but I'm so excited to have Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk heading it up because they are powerful voices in America. And it's frustrating because, you know, having this oversight and accountability and looking into the spending of tax dollars and all of these federal agencies, well, we used to call that Congress. But apparently, since Congress isn't doing that, we need
I agree. I think Elon and Vivek.
Like she said, she right neighborhood, wrong address, Lauren, but closer to the right address than usual. She was so close. I think honestly, I was thinking about this. She probably heard someone else say this. Like she didn't come up with that on her own, but she cut, you know what I mean? That's closer than she usually is. When yesterday, that interview about tariffs, when she's like, economists don't know what they're talking about. Tariffs aren't going to cost the American people anybody. I mean, that was a much worse miss. Do you guys remember when Mike Johnson yesterday, I was showing you guys clips of Mike Johnson saying, you know, the whole lie on Fox News about we have a problem. Mike Johnson was saying, well, I don't know why the FBI was saying we have a problem with domestic tea attacks. Like, these aren't tea attacks. These are immigrants coming across the border and like making up lies when clearly there is a problem with it. And I showed you guys that for some reason, Fox News is not reporting on it, but the largest cache of explosives was just found on a 20-acre farm of finished explosives. This man's name is Brad Spafford. He's just going to come as a shock. He's a white man, and he had the largest cache of finished explosives ever found. He was turned in by his own neighbors. He had blown off 3 of his fingers already. His family is living in this house, and he has one of the most unstable substances in history, like in the freezer. It's so unstable, it explodes at temperature changes, friction caused by actual temperature changes. And he had it in his freezer next to food. He had a backpack of unsecured explosives in the house. He was using Biden's photo for target practice and making THREATs against Kamala. But for some reason, we're never hearing anyone talk about this. So if you guys know Qasim Rashid, it's QASIM. I'll put it in he's one of my favorite people on TikTok. If you do not follow, oh no, wait, it's an M. Sorry, I have to write again. If you don't know who Qasim Rashid is, he's absolutely fabulous. And listen to this point he was making yesterday on TikTok.
I'm going to show you 2 cases, and I want to see if you can tell me the difference. Brianna Boston of Florida said, delay, deny, depose, you're next, to an insurance corporation. She owns 0 guns, and despite that, she got charged with terrorism and kept her on a $100,000 bond. Now, she's on home arrest awaiting trial and facing 15 years in prison. Meanwhile, Brad Spafford of Virginia lied to the federal authorities. He has multiple illegal guns, over 150 illegal bombs. One of them he detonated and blew off his own fingers. He also advocated all this time to unalive the vice president and used a photo of Joe Biden as target practice. He was arrested and then released on $25,000 bond, and he is not being charged with terrorism. And I know.
Do you guys hear what he said? Because I didn't, at the point when I was telling you this story yesterday, his hearing was going on yesterday. That's why I was telling you it was in the news, but the hearing wasn't over. He got out on $25,000 bond. This man is free. The woman who was angry because her insurance claim was denied, she's never owned a weapon in her life, has 0 criminal record. She was just on the phone upset with her insurance company. I told you this story also. She's in Florida. She said, delay, deny, depose, you're next. Just on the phone. She has like 3 or 4 kids. Can't remember. She's on house arrest and her bond was $100,000, which people like us pooled money together and paid for her. But Brad Spafford, the largest weapons cache or explosives cache in history, found on a 20-acre farm in Virginia, $25,000 bond. The man is running around free. Like, this is America. What could go wrong? It seems totally normal. I think we're doing just fine.
Some folks will say, well, there might be more charges coming. Fine. I hope there are. Let's keep putting pressure on the authorities to make it happen. This guy is literally part of a terrorist organization called No Lives Matter, who is well known to promote extremist ideology and mass unaliving of people. And still, he's not being charged with terrorism. But I'm glad they got the mother of three who has zero criminal record and doesn't even own a gun. I feel much safer.
I love Qasim. If you don't know him, he's absolutely fabulous. Tap the screen. We're almost to 350K. Subscribe if you guys want to. I really, really, really appreciate it. I think this is another. I was showing you guys that video that Robert Reich made about private equity and how it's robbing us all. And one of my favorite TikTok creators was making a metaphor to what's happening in America, to how private equity tears businesses apart, breaks them down, sells them off in pieces.
Right. What's happening to this country is familiar to anybody that's worked for a company that's been bought by private equity and watched private equity come in and chop it up and sell it for parts and kind of seek to extract every bit of wealth or resource from it. For them personally, that's what they're doing to the government. I mean, this is like the end of like Reagan's wet dream, like Grover Norquist, all this stuff. We kind of forget that like since the Reagan Revolution, Republicans have been on a quest to kind of like hand the country over to rich people in the form of privatization, and this is just that on steroids. I mean, the idea that this is actually like somehow aberrant or that like the Republican Party somehow made a turn with Trump, I really don't think that's true. I think they've rode Trump's cult of personality to this moment where they're doing what they've always wanted to do, which is shrinking the government down to the size that they could drown it in the bathtub, as Grover Norquist famously said. And so, yeah, this is the ruling class taking over, right? This was the minute Citizens United was passed. This endpoint was inevitable at some point, without drastic intervention and without the Democrats actually becoming an opposition party and doing something. The minute Citizens United was passed, we were turned into an open oligarchy, and it was just a matter of time before the oligarchies took everything good about this country and destroyed it for their.
Preach. Truer words were literally never spoken than that. He gets your anxiety up. He's a lot like me. He has PTSD, CPTSD. He was raised by a malignant narcissist, and he's extremely, extremely intelligent. So yeah, like he was traumatized. That's why he's like that. I know what you mean. That's why I relate to him. He talks a lot about psychology. He is a genius. This man's a genius. Anyways, maybe one day we'll do a live together. Sometimes we message. He is literally probably my favorite creator. He's one of the most intelligent people on the internet. Wow, what is that? I have never seen that before. Sorry, I have ADHD. You guys just saw it. I don't know. Was that an onion and then a cat on a dance floor? I have no idea what that was, but that was amazing. I'm not sure which account he's on. He has so many accounts, because the Elon Musk bros cannot stand him. He's on like his 10th account. Wait, hold on. What does this one say? Smoking and Thinking 6. Yeah, that's 6. But he has a bunch of different. Yes, it's smoking, and this is Smoking and Thinking 6. So if this one hasn't been nuked yet, I think this is this is probably his most recent. But yeah, because he says the truth. I mean, follow this man. He is a mother effing genius, and he gets attacked a lot by the billionaire simps because they can't handle the truth. So yeah, he's I can't remember his name right now. Actually, he may have never said his name on the internet, so I probably wouldn't say it even if I could remember it. But I think it is Friday. It has been another amazing show, and we will leave it there for the week. Monday is January 6th. We will be certifying Trump's election. I will be on the Facts and Felice show is Monday morning, so I'm not sure what our topic will be. We haven't decided yet, but Fax and I will be on his live 5 a.m. Pacific time for those of you who are up then, 8 a.m. Eastern time. So we'll be spending January 6th together, and then later in the day I will do the People's Receipts, and I'm sure there will be a bunch of interesting crap going on for us to talk about. Again, the People's Receipts is Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 11:30 a.m. Pacific time, 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. So I will see you guys on Monday. Thank you guys. You guys don't know, like, this is a symbiotic relationship. You guys are keeping me alive. Oh, sorry. Daniel said, I have two. Ashley said, my wish for 2025 is for someone to dump mashed potatoes on Trump's head. Can you imagine? That would be, I'd be scared. I'm scared for us all. And Daniel said, being great and all the hard work you put into your TikTok lives. Thank you so much. Yes, I do. And I love you guys for noticing. Oh, here is that New York judge orders Trump to be sentenced for crimes. I'll do a deeper dive into that. I'll read the court order, but how great is that? Trump is going into his presidency, a convicted felon. I mean, I guess he could appeal maybe to the Supreme Court if they would take it, but we shall see. Yes, thank you so much to my fabulous mods, Joetta, Chrissy, Cootery, Cookie, all of the, you guys are so fabulous. Any mods I didn't name, I mean you too. Like, I just can't do this without you. Thank you for protecting me from the wackos. And Dale, thank you for trolling us all day long. We know that you secretly love us, and maybe one day you'll learn something. Guys, don't change for everyone. I will see you Monday morning with Facts. Again, 5 a.m. Pacific time, 8 a.m. Eastern for the Facts and Fleece show, and then later in the day. He's the last. Dale, oh, sorry, I'm just answering some of the comments. Dale is my last troll I have not blocked. On this account, I have pretty much blocked every MAGA person that talks shit to me. Like, this is my safe space. Dale was my first troll when I used to do lives with Political Mom and Nemo, and we would have like 15 people in our lives, and Dale would be there at like 2 a.m, just being like, wrong, you guys are wrong. So I think it's like sentimental. But yeah, if you guys haven't, I block everyone on this account. Like, this is my safe space. I'm tired of it. So yeah, but anyone else, I promise to protect us from. But Dale, it's a sentimental thing. One day we'll change him. Maybe not. But anyways, Dale's actually one of the pretty harmless ones. He has no idea what he's talking about. Anyways, I shall see you guys Monday morning, and I'll probably be debating sometime this weekend. I'll let you guys know in the Discord. See you guys later.